Hello and welcome to season 2 of the Guardian Show. Season 2 because we took an extended break and we just.
This is my idea.
Yeah.
It gives us an excuse when we're not on air for ages.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of Palantir stalling, we are now on season 2.
So next episode will be season 3, yeah.
Yeah, in like August.
This could be like a season 2 special if we don't do another one for 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who watched Doctor Who back in the day, it was like when they did season 4 Doctor Who, and then they did the specials before David Tennant left.
Has it really been 4 months?
Oh, it was because you inconveniently decided to have a baby.
Yeah. So that is the reason we have been away. I have said child. She is now 12 weeks old. And I was allowed to have an evening chatting to you boys all things nerd. So, yes. So, in the last 4 months, how have we been?
Yeah. All right.
Ali's still stuffing his face.
Response.
Still stuffing his face with cake.
Yeah, get a new fill while I fill my face.
Okay. Yeah, I've been all right. I've done some hobbying.
Excellent. What have you done?
Loads. I've got. I can't remember if I'd done anything with my Phaedra's Guard.
We'll just pretend you didn't, even if you had.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
claim it as new hobby.
So I've got a Phaedra's Guard army all built and undercoated.
Excellent.
I'm currently painting some test models at the moment, which is going very slowly.
Are you going standard scheme or slightly off-piste?
No, my own kind of one, which
Excellent.
test models just to see if I want to change up some of the colours or anything like that. I've already redone the shields because they were way too bright.
Okay.
It's like
What were you going for?
the colour
Yeah.
is Temple God Blue,
Okay. That's quite...
which is
Oh,
very
so-
bright.
So,
I
are
don't
you
have
copying
to
my
remember.
Phaedra's Guard?
No?
Because mine have got blue
But yours are
shields.
well,
But the cloaks are like, what's it called?
Not blue.
Another shade of brown.
Now I've got is it Incubi on the top and then like purple on the underneath the cloaks.
Oh, nice.
Temple Guard's more like a turquoise, but I've gone back towards more of a green.
Okay.
Just not the same, not the normal Rohan green.
Oh, nice.
But I've done that. I've written some lists. Bought some tickets for tournaments.
Excellent.
Failed to
Wait,
buy tickets for tournaments.
Is that just because they sell out so quick?
Yeah.
Or
So I
you
was
like
meant-
Ali and you completely forget.
Well, I was meant to buy one for Gates of Gondolin on Monday. However, I was ill on Monday, so I stayed in bed late. And then when I woke up, they were all gone. I was like,
Well, basically, I was like, we're going to buy one. And when Dewi says I forgot, it's more I forgot to, because I was doing actual work for an hour. And then I basically went at 10 o'clock. It was like, oh, they've sold out.
yeah. So hopefully, because they're not doing a reserves list, I don't think.
No, there is a reserve list, but it's kind of message Will, I think. And he's got a reserve list.
So, well, he put up a post saying that there's been so many people that it's more going to be a case of they're going to post up saying that a ticket's going to be available tomorrow, and then people have to buy it off the site, I think, just because there's so many people that want to reserve.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because they have to do it through the website, it kind of probably...
Yeah, a lot easier for them to deal with.
Yeah.
But
Tournaments and sell.
close,
Oh, yeah. Nice.
but that's it so far.
Fair enough. That's relatively close to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not too far. There's not really. I was actually looking at the calendar and talked to Calvin and Josh about this. There's not actually many tournaments around Manchester compared to previous years. There's a lot more all around.
I mean, they're all run by Steve Crow, if they are.
It's basically Steve Crow and Johnny Wright. It's like
Yeah.
Harry's not running an event. Jamie and James aren't running Desolations. Lewis is running.
I think the thing is that a lot of those guys, like the 80-pointer ones, may run an event, but they won't commit to it until halfway through the year because of when
That's
they used
also
to
true,
run
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I did accidentally nearly buy a ticket to the Irish one because
Accidentally nearly buy.
it's located in Bangor, and there's
Oh,
also
what,
a
the one
banger
later
in,
in the year? Or,
yeah.
But there's also a banger in North
There's
Wales.
also a banger in Wales.
Yeah,
It's like,
which is
oh,
what
that's really convenient.
yeah, which is what I was thinking of. I love Bangor actually. There's a cafe there called Blue Sky Cafe, and you go down like it's like my favorite cafe ever. Anyway, didn't take long for a tangent into a pointless non-hobby thing.
No, evening, gents in the chat. Keep us entertained. That's cool then.
Keep them entertained.
Yeah, bit of both. Ali,
My time isn't free. Like they have to keep me entertained to keep me here. Like
you've got your little side piece in the chat anyway, Ali.
oh what my little dwarf friend,
Your little dwarf friend.
which actually could apply to 2 people if you'd ever met like Louis.
No, 3.
Oh yeah. Yeah no.
Have you got?
Are we moving on to what I've been doing?
Yeah, go on
Yeah,
then.
go for it.
Cool. That was smoothly done. That segue by me. So I won the league since last time we were here.
Oh, good, yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
That's
Move
how
on.
long it's
Bit of an
been.
achievement.
Um,
On this point, I've been knocked down to 3rd best Helmingers player.
oh yeah, Rowan Williams.
Rowan
Is it
May.
Williams?
Rowan
Rowan-
May.
There
There is
is
also
a
Williams.
Williams, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rowan May like won best newcomer,
Yeah.
and is another Helmingers player better than Geffen.
Geffen, you need to sort your shit out, boy.
Yeah, basically, actually,
I played
so
them before, they were cool.
last year since like lockdown got released, out of I think 8 GBHL 100 events, 4 of them were won by. It may even be 7, but at least 4 of them, at least 50%, were won by armies containing Grimbold and Helmingas.
Yeah.
Oh god. Oh god.
So Grimbold don't need no horse.
We were saying before we could have a topic about that. I'm sure that me and Ali could discuss the reasons he doesn't need a horse.
Galadriel is that reason.
I actually find it quite interesting about the horse because it makes you think differently.
He'd also be incredibly broken with a horse, which is my biggest issue.
Yeah. I think, like, we were talking about this just before we went live, is the fact that there are heroes that don't need horses and heroes that shouldn't have horses.
It's also nice to have heroes that don't. Because if every hero had a horse...
Yeah, it'd be pointless. It would
I come from the position of, like, my Khazad an army of 4 dwarfs, and I'm just like, there going, you guys have horses?
Yeah.
My cousin has a goat.
And a pig, but
And
I
a
don't
pig,
take it
yeah.
because I'm me.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Mhm.
Anyway, won the league. No biggie. Although to be honest, I think last time we were on, I was so far ahead because of where I just won 2 GHL 100s in a row.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't improve my score after that. It was literally just there going, is anyone gonna go on like a I think they had to win 3 events in a row, or 3 of the last 5. So
Who came second?
who came second? So second, third, and fourth were hotly contested in the league.
Mhm.
So you had a situation where Jasmine was in second for nearly the whole entire season,
Yeah.
but she couldn't go to the last event, and she could have been knocked off second by Jay or Dave Farmer if either of them won the event, or if Dave Farmer I think came second. But she could have also dropped out of the top 3 completely if Jay had won Sterling and Dave Farmer had come second.
Oh,
What
jeez.
actually happened? Oh, and basically whoever did better at Sterling, if they got a podium out of Jay and Dave, was going to get 3rd place. What ended up happening was Jay came second and Dave came 3rd, which basically meant that Dave Farmer just missed out. And Jay just snuck into 3rd, and Jasmine managed to stay in second.
Jeez.
So it was going into the last round,
So
and
close.
because Rowan chats to Jasmine a lot, or was getting a lot of list advice and stuff like that, and it was basically the top 2 tables was Rowan playing, I think, Will Champion, and Will couldn't really win the event because he'd already lost too many, and then it was Jay versus David who were still third and second.
No.
And there was a situation where any of those variables in the last game
Could have happened.
could have come up, and unfortunately
That's
David
insane.
didn't, and unfortunately for Jasmine, she stayed where she was. But yeah, it was the first time we've gone into the final tournament of a GBHL season where the winner's being decided.
That's actually
but everything else is up for grabs.
But like, best newcomer and second, third, and fourth, and even most sporting and best painted were all decided at that event.
Apologies
It's
if you heard a
saying-
clicking noise. That was me with a pen.
I know that Rowan was. We've talked about this before. With I'm gonna get the channel name wrong. Atomic
Cards.
Cards. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna invoice them for that plug.
Yeah. In Rowan's interview, he was talking about the fact that, as you say, it just come down to the wire, and Jasmine was just like, "Please, just beat David, just destroy him." And he was like, "Didn't need to. Jay did it for me."
I was tempted to do a whole campaign of misinformation to Jasmine just to like stress her out. Just be like, "Oh, looks like they're gonna be first and second."
God.
Oh, dude, that would be so funny. But yeah, so
Just-
Rowan came 5th in the end, was it?
Yeah.
So that's the highest,
Rowan won the last two Edgy Rich 100 events.
bar. Oh, did he win Sterling?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I can't remember if he won Sterling or not.
and he won more as well.
Yeah. So I think that's the highest place a newcomer has ever finished.
Or Kalman?
No, Kalman was not that high as a newcomer.
Not as a newcomer. Okay, I can't remember if it was.
I have a feeling he finished 6th as a newcomer, and then he was 3rd the year after.
I know he podiumed one year. I can remember.
Yeah,
if it was
yeah,
his
yeah.
newcomer year or
Yeah.
not.
The only other person who technically can like tie that achievement, but best newcomer wasn't awarded at the time, is a really handsome guy who's better than Geffen with like Fredrid's guard. But no, basically the second ever
Never
season
even
of
used
the
Edge's guard.
Yeah. That's why I'm better than you with it. No, I think I finished 5th in my first ever full season.
Okay.
Which was the second season. And I remember at the time, this is when it was a lot smaller, so Rowan's achievements arguably more impressive.
It definitely is more impressive.
Yeah. And I was there going like, oh, it'd be really cool if newcomers got an award for like, because it was there going like, oh, I'm the best new person or whatever, like, and it'd be nice to get an award. And it's like, oh, that's a great idea. We'll do it from now on. And then like, I remember the year or two later, Dave Farmer had gone to one event and then had like the previous season, and then like would have won best newcomer the year after, but because he'd gone to the year before, he didn't qualify. So I was like, yeah, we probably should do it like so you got like
Slightly
a couple of
differently,
events
yeah.
like don't count and you can still count as newcomer next year. And I was like, oh, that's great, but it didn't help Farmer out at all. It's just like every year someone ends up missing out, but then we correct the rules afterwards, but they still miss out.
Oh dear. But that's good then. What have I done in the last? Not much.
Being a dad.
Yeah. Being
I
a
mean, he barely
dad.
does that, to be honest. He tries to spend most of the time chatting to me.
Hey. That's when on dog walks and working, obviously.
Yeah. Now I'm not working from home every day though. That's cut down to only once or twice a week.
Yeah, but hey, Discord is still the place to be if you just want a quick chit chat, and the link should be in the
Or a
description.
very long chat.
Or a very long chat. Yeah, depends on your attention span and the topic of conversation.
I think there's someone on there from at least 11:30 today, all the way up until
What,
I don't know. I
half
left
past
the
7?
chat at 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
So-
pretty much. But yeah, so it is a good place for all things chit chat. I know Gethin, you jumped on the other day, and we can just we were talking about the new Easterling heroes, weren't we?
Which I think we can get on to.
Yeah,
we
well,
had a bit of a
look,
chat with a couple of people.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if that was Dewi's way of segueing onto the Easterling heroes.
No, we're going on to our favourite. We're going on to our timed top 5.
Top 5.
Have we got
Let's
top
go.
5 models that have come out in the last year?
To which I need to get
I don't even know what that'd
a timer
Models that
up.
have.
I need to get a timer up.
Cribine? Cribine came out in the last
No,
year?
that was over a year ago.
Really? God, I'm
Was it?
so far
Oh
behind.
god, right. Ignore this massive segue. Let's go back to us for a minute while I find a countdown timer, because it's the one thing I forgot to sort out, because I'm a genius.
We'll get
the-
Geffen to count out loud.
How are your Outriders coming along, Ali?
Hmm?
How are the Outriders coming along? 'Cause know
Oh, I
you
finished painting them
enjoyed
ages ago.
Fair.
Because
You should
like
needed them for the ETC because they wouldn't take the conversions.
no, for the GT. I didn't even bother
Oh.
asking. I just got the real models, and it didn't even cost me too much in the end. I only paid like £6 a model on average.
Hey,
not bad.
found it. Right.
But because I got them paint up, but because I'm doing all the blog articles and I'm doing a Road to the GT blog article, so I needed the pictures to chuck in there.
That makes sense.
So clearly someone hasn't read my blog article I posted last week.
I did.
Gethin.
I read it.
I didn't realise that there were painted outliners in there.
Your conversions were so good that I didn't.
Gethin, just say you skimmed it and move on.
I actually did read it. I just didn't think about the painting of the outliners. I'll be honest.
So, but if you look at that photo, I only finished basing them that day because you can still see the PVA. I completely dried.
Excellent. Right. We are spinning the wheel for our times top 5. As always, I do not have my books anywhere near me.
Let's do this,
Neither
don't
do
I?
I.
Stop myself
Oh yeah, you
being
need to
cut in
lean to
half.
the side.
Oh,
Well, we're missing CJ today.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we should
Noticed.
probably mention. Yeah, unfortunately,
Oh, yeah.
CJ's not feeling great.
Yeah.
He actually just got so used to not talking to us and has better things to do. with his life.
Oh.
Is it?
Match play scenarios.
Oh, that's convenient. The
Top
one thing I've
5.
actually got near me.
Top 5. So we're off.
Cool.
Oh,
That's
God. I know
What
what.
do we give ourselves for this? Is it 5 minutes?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Time top 5 in 5 minutes. So,
There it is. Okay. Oh, have you started the time?
yeah, of course I have.
Oh, okay, alright. Sure.
Guys in the chat, let us know what your top 5 scenarios are as well. Oh
This
God,
might
I've got
be
to remember
easier
them
for
all.
me because I've not played the latest 6 like at all. So,
I'm trying to remember what they are.
got to get everyone's favourite heirlooms on there, right? Everyone loves a
Alright,
good heirlooms.
I'm done. Do I get prize for being first?
No, not at all.
You get to keep your trophy.
I just go by instinct. That's what I do.
I'm trying to remember them all.
Yeah, I don't need to remember it all because the first 5 that come to my head will clearly be my favourite 5.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
my
not,
least favourite.
not
I was
played.
gonna say, yeah. The first one that came to my head definitely wasn't my favourite. It was like, oh god, definitely not that one.
I've actually picked 5 of the 6 double scenarios.
Don't do that.
Oh, I've got Battle Company scenarios. Oh,
Yeah. As a general, but they're not match play guide scenarios. Battle companies.
yeah, potato.
Very true.
Generally, actually, on a side tangent, well, you guys do that. I don't like the double scenarios.
I hate them.
I don't think they actually encourage to play doubles.
No,
They don't.
it's single armies, really. Isn't
I think
it?
we spoke about this when I went to the double spending elements, and it's like the 3 missions we got were completely split up, and we just didn't
Yeah.
play together. It was like,
That's pretty much what happened when I did it when it first came out. Whereas actually, you just played the normal scenarios, and it's much more doublesy.
yeah.
I mean, you can modify them a little bit if you want. So like,
Right, I think I've got mine.
I've got 2.
I'm trying to remember other ones that I think are quite good. These are ones that I enjoy playing. Pretty much.
I'm gonna say this one because I think I would enjoy playing it.
How many of the new ones have you played?
I've played Retrieval once and realised that the wording is one of the worst ever because it doesn't make sense with the prize. And
what
Assassination.
bit about it moving off the prize?
No, the fact that when one of my models drops it, you have to do everything in your power to put it back in the middle. So you have to use all of your might to get it back to the starting point as fast as possible.
See,
That's the wording.
this will lead us on to a conversation that we had on the Discord.
Is this to do with like the twins and stuff?
Yeah, and do you have to use might to get it
The
back,
wording's slightly different,
etc.
I think.
Yeah, but it's the whole. The question arose from if you're Thirdred or Dane or the twins, do you have to dismount to charge?
Oh, okay.
Which is the main one.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I guess technically yes, because you have to do everything in your power. Right?
If a relic has been picked up by an enemy model and then is then some sweet word which
Subsequently.
subsequently dropped or retaken by a friendly model, then a player must try to return it to its original position as quickly as possible.
Oh, also
Until it has been picked up, by an enemy model, friendly models may not pick up their own relic. So it doesn't say which player has to do that.
It also does that, yeah. So
says
if I
a
drop
player.
the prize, I need to return it to the Stein location. It's
Oh,
definitely
got some interesting ones in the chat.
Yeah, that one's weird.
it's definitely a mission.
Geffen, you've
where
got
you
a
need to be
minute.
Like this is what it should be.
To be fair, I've played it a few times. That's never like been a thing that's come up. Like I didn't even know like if you were to pick up your own prize, you had to like peg it back.
Yeah.
But,
Essentially, it's to stop people picking up their own prize once it's been moved and just running away with it.
yeah, I get that's why.
Or just leaving it, I guess.
But it does say a player.
Yeah.
They go like, oh no, like Butterfingers, like I got my opponent's prize. Oh,
Better
crap,
put it back.
It's like when you're doing there's like assault courses or something like that, and if you drop the like
20 seconds.
go back to the start
Yeah.
point and like go again.
Oh no, I don't know what to do. I'll go this one just because it can have interesting things. So I'll put that as number 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Game over.
Perfect.
Right, we will jump to this screen.
A quick look at the chat ones.
Chat ones are interesting.
Yes.
Interesting is probably the way I'd put it.
Both have stormed the camp.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's definitely not in my top 5.
I think it's good to
Spoilers.
have that scenario, but I don't think it's one of my favourites.
No. So, right. We'll start with number 5. My number 5 is...
I used, as a plug, I used Gorilla Glue for all of my favourites. None of them are formed.
God.
Generally, I've seen people like recommend Gorilla Glue as a glue, unironically knowing that's what I plug, like, or like really useful boxes, and like I'm just thinking like. And it's like, I just say going, oh, did I watch Guardian show? It's like, oh no, probably not. they're just genuinely recommending it.
genuinely.
I will also be magnetising my entire army so that I can use a really useful box that's got a sheet of metal in it.
Yeah.
That's been glued on. I know it's not being glued on with glue.
Yeah. By the way, you know, people were complaining. I don't know. This is going to be a really side tangent for now, but
Excellent.
like in the chat about like magnets on bases and like Goblin Town will stick together.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get why that happens. Like you just get like a small magnet and centralize it, and it's like they're going.
The issue is on slotted bases because
Oh, yeah, but
pushed
even
to the side.
Don't use slotter bases.
And there's also the slot
Models
base.
come-
You stick it on the slightly thicker side.
Yeah.
Just there. That's what I do with most of mine.
It still does it because that's how I've done all of mine.
How
and
big
mine
are your
stick together.
magnets?
They're over there. They're not that big. But
That's
it's
what I
like
said.
it's more when you pick it up. If you pick up a model and knock the one aside, so like the bases lift off slightly, then it'll just.
I've never had
Or if
that
you try
issue,
and move more
basically.
close to time.
Oh, dear.
I've definitely had it.
So, my number 5 is To the Death. Because
Cool.
kill stuff.
Yeah,
It's a standard scenario.
Yeah.
it's a scenario I play to introduce people to the game, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's there going, you don't need to know anything other. You need to kill as many models, and that big guy is also more important to kill.
Because what is it?
And
It's
pretty easy to understand.
break, leader, banner.
Yeah.
25%.
25, yeah. I just
Sure.
think it's.
It's pretty straightforward.
I think
The
it's better than
25% is
Lords.
actually pretty
It's just more
interesting
balanced,
as well.
I think.
Yeah.
Because the way it actually rewards you for ending the game,
Yeah.
which is it's the only scenario which does that, really.
Yeah, and it's also the first person to 25%
Yeah.
to stop because the issue last edition was that scenario at tournaments was awful for draws. Like,
Is it?
so many people will get a draw. Last edition, yeah,
Before they introduced the 25% thing.
yeah.
Oh, was
often
that?
it would be-
Was that? Okay.
It wasn't like it's not like Storm the Camp this edition. But,
No, I didn't realise
it's
they
kinda
only
like- 'cause
introduced it
often
this year.
would be you'd both break,
And then maybe
and
leader.
like then it would be if you got a wound on each other's leaders. As in that
Okay.
would be the deciding thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now with the 25%, it's like one person will always pretty much win it.
Yeah.
or then like banners as well as another variable.
Yeah.
But
So,
As a TO, I found that it was the one that everyone drew on the most.
oh right, interesting. Alistar, number 5.
my number 5, it's an amazing scenario. I can't remember until I get my list up. I've got Hold Ground.
Ah, I didn't even think of that one, but it probably wouldn't have featured.
Yeah, it's probably my favourite Maelstrom.
Yeah,
And I enjoy Maelstrom, and because of where, I don't know, it has a lot of dynamics which is quite hard to explain. But you've got a lot of variable tactics, and like, if you do get split up as warbands, like, does your opponent like try and gang one up on one warband, but then the rest of your army can come up, control the middle, and like secure it, or do they like just rush to the middle and then you've got all your guys on hurt, like, and stuff like that?
because the other tactic is getting close to the middle and then rushing them right at the end, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's quite good and I enjoy it, and yeah.
Nice.
There's a variety of tactics you can use. I think the main reason it wouldn't be on my list is just because you can't just get fucked over by the Maelstrom. Which you can play around it with might, but when you're rolling 2s and using might to roll down to a 1, like 2 or 3 turns in a row, it's like...
I genuinely wish Rowan had actually been able to join us this week, because if there's the Maelstrom debate going on, and I said, no, where you know how everyone's on about if you win priority it's bad. And I said the opposite, going like, actually often I find I like winning priority, at least with my dwarves. And I kind of explained it, and then just by chance I then played him at like the event a weekend afterwards at Hold Ground, and I won priority. I had one warband on move there, and then my other 2 came there. He did the thing where he tried to gang up on my warband and kill it, and people really underestimate how long it can take to completely wipe out a warband.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, it then meant that even as dwarves he had like loads of spiders and stuff like that, controlled the middle, and he just couldn't get me off it, and then I just like used the terrain, and then it's kind of afterwards like, oh yeah, like he kind of like understood sort of why it's not always a bad thing.
I think that is one thing with Hold Ground, like just their tactic alone. There's a lot of people which will be like, oh, well, I'll just jump to one warband without realizing, like, I've done it before, I'm guilty of this. It's like, oh, I'll easily kill that warband, it's just some Urukai. And it's just like, nah, if they keep winning fights, because if you back away, they're behind you, and they're jumping on your spears and stuff, it's like you have to actually deal with them if you've committed.
It's also the random game end one, isn't it?
I think so.
So which usually I'm not so keen on, but I like it in Hold Ground because it means you genuinely have to think. Unlike some of the Maelstroms, like if you kill too much, the game could end before you actually get enough on the objective. So you have to just be really smart about it. I like it because it makes me think, basically.
Yeah, no, I like it, and like you say, like ganging a warband can either work really well or it can work really badly.
Yeah.
This kind of like that middle one. The flip side of that one is Command the Battlefield, which I quite like because it means your models can't be effective. Like you've got to sacrifice models to get VPs. But yeah, I didn't think of that one either. So.
Outriders.
Then I also just say to Paul in the chat, like I'm not surprised you're scared. Playing my brother, like in any scenario, is a terrible experience. I had to do it throughout my childhood. I beat him, so that's fine.
To be fair, I quite like enjoying playing your brother because we played Clash by Moonlight, and he decided to stick one Hobbit hero on the front line when I've got blowpipes. So you crack on, Matt. It died very quickly.
I'm not surprised.
I'm pretty sure I won 3-1.
Oh, actually, on that tangent, because I don't know if he'll watch this back. Sometimes he joins in, like over Chris, like we were playing like sort of these triangle dominoes things with the family.
Okay.
And you know how everyone gets slated for slow play?
Yeah.
Like I made a joke about how slow my brother plays to make decisions, and then like my mum and my dad and like his girlfriend Laura like just started slaying how long it was taking him to play his domino and stuff like that.
Oh, amazing. Gethin, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Fog of War.
Oh.
Just because it's
Good
I think it's a very interesting scenario, which there's so many different ways that you can do it. You can be like, I'll just go for the easiest option of terrain. You can go for the try and throw them off by going through an okay piece of terrain that they don't think you're going to take. The hero is the exact same as well. You can go for one of their heroes you know is going to be charging in. You can go for a weak one.
Yeah, there's a little bit of bluffing, isn't it? It's like you could do the thing where like, well, I'm moving my guys towards this hero, like to make you think he's my target, and you go psych, and then like you across and take out like the other one. It was the most interesting and unique scenario that came out in that like second lot of 6, as it were.
Yeah. Because what was the first lot? To the death, Lords, Domination, Recon,
Hold Ground.
Hold Ground.
And you had High Ground was a thing.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah. Which got ditched because basically you had to have a hill.
Okay.
Do you remember old Hold Ground?
Which one? How did that work?
So the old Hold Ground was... So both Hold Grounds was there was a hill in the middle. You got points for having more models. I think it was you got a point for each model on the hill. Yeah. In old Hold Ground, if you drew priority, every model on the hill got knocked over because there were gusty winds.
Oh, and you couldn't shoot or something, was it?
No. So it used to be, I think you get knocked prone, and then it changed to...
you can't shoot.
Yeah, it couldn't shoot.
Oh, God. That's quite interesting, though.
But because of the necessity for terrain, they got rid of that one. I can't remember what replaced it.
I believe
was it Illuminate by Moonlight?
Seas. It was Seas.
Was it Seas?
Seas the Prize the first one that came in.
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure Seas the Prize has been in for a long time.
Seas the Prize came in, I think, when they got...
Or was that Desolation?
Yeah, it's the Desolation of Smaug when you got the 3 scenarios that came in there. And it was like the only one, I think, out of the 3 which... Because the other 2 was like, you had player A and player B, and they had different objectives.
We've got Murphy in chat, he might know.
Yeah, he's been around long enough.
Quite possibly. But Gethin, while you're at it, what's your number 4?
Well, my number 4 is To the Death. Just, once again, very standard scenario. You can't really go wrong with To the Death. I feel like it's generally the most balanced.
I appreciate the simplicity of it, actually.
Yeah.
You've got so many like actual objective scenarios. It's kind of nice just to be like, no, this one is just like...
To me, it was between between that one and Lords. I was just kind of like, it's just simple, and you know what you're doing, you know what your opponent's doing, you just go in.
I think To the Death is more balanced than Lords, as in it's very rare you're going to have a matchup where you go, oh crap, right? Whereas Lords you can do sort of.
So
I think I don't like playing Lords, or I don't like playing To the Death in like friendly games where you just have one game for the night. I like something a bit more interesting. But like first game at a tournament, first game on the second day, it's a good one. When you've been playing a bunch of complex things, it's nice to just
kick back with their right. I'm literally just going that direction.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Destroy the Supplies.
I've not played that one yet, so.
I think it's just interesting because you've got to defend your 3.
I've got a caveat on that though, and there's a reason why it's not on my list. It's because it doesn't. I really like it, but it doesn't work well at low points.
No.
Because it works a fixed number of supplies, it suddenly like become. So when you get to a certain model count, so like 30 plus, 35 plus, 40, whatever, like you can play the scenario as it really should be played because you can sort of like both defend and attack, and it's kind of like that. If you're doing like 400 points or 450 points or whatever, a lot of armies only have 20 models, and then so you can't really defend all of yours, and you also then can't attack, and then unless if you're a horde army, at which point like Goblin Town just like or Lake Town have like a massive advantage because they have the models to both defend and attack. So that's why it's like I really like it, but I think almost if you're doing sub 600 points, it should be like 4 supply, as in like 2 each.
Yeah. No, I think it's really nice. Like you say, you gotta try and defend 3 of yours, also trying to get 3 of your opponents, and there's is it banner and leader VPs?
Ali just checks on the book.
It is 2 points for broken, 2 points for leader, 2 points for banner.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just really interesting. Like you've got a lot to try and deal with. So
I mean, like it genuinely, like it's it's not in my top 5, but it was the one which I considered most putting in, which isn't. It's like my special mention.
Yeah. Ali, number 4.
I had Fog of War as well. I just like it's just
the bluffing.
Yeah, the bluffing aspect. You're always kind of playing for something in that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, because it's almost like...
It's definitely the highest scoring scenario.
Yeah, so I drew 10-10 at the last GT.
Yeah, it's definitely the highest scoring
I was
ones.
thinking, I didn't even know you could get a 10-10 draw.
Yeah.
You just don't know literally until the dice are down, like what's happened. It's like it's the best feeling ever when you manage to outwit your opponent.
Yeah.
Like the terrain thing's one thing where it's just like, oh, they've just run a cavalry, okay, I guess they get that. But when it's a hero that you've been using really aggressively, and they've been like, oh, it's not that. So I remember when it first came out, I played Jay at the GT, and I had Robed Thranduil from like the old edition.
Yeah.
And I was just playing him so aggressively, and he was my hero to defend. And because I was playing him so aggressively, Jay was like, it's not going to be him. Go after Grimbold. Go kill him.
Yeah.
Have you ever done the thing, though, where you forgot which one your hero was?
No.
Defend, like, halfway through.
No.
And then you're just like there going, crap. Like,
and
because I put it under a bit of terrain, which now has models on. Like, because the secret's like, I can't really check it. Like, flip a coin and hope for the best.
I think you did a scenario once at one of your events where it was like you
Treasure
put pieces
Hunters.
of paper. Yeah, treasure hunters. And I think I was playing David Clark, and we both completely forgot about everything.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
For those of you who don't know, Treasure Hunters is basically a scenario where you've got like 6 objectives around the board, or 5, I can't remember exactly, and they're all worth different values or points because they have different amounts of treasure. But you don't know at the start of the game, and then like you can sacrifice models, move in the turn, and roll a dice, and on a 6 you get to see how much that terrain's worth. So you then but your opponent doesn't know unless if they also find out. So you could sort of find out and start bluffing, like to make them think that's worth a lot. So you put that.
Oh, that's so
really,
good.
really good.
That's so
I remember
good.
That's good fun.
There was one particular bit where I remember Jay was playing Dan Entwistle, and Dan got really, really annoyed at Jay because Jay completely bluffed him on it. And Dan was like, basically he was like, Jay just did it, like played it well, and Dan was like, but you were like there saying that was a 5 and blah blah blah, and it's just like, yeah, that's the scenario.
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
What's your number 3 then, Ali?
My number 3, it is To the Death. So yeah, we've already spoken quite a bit about that. I just really like it. It's
nice.
It's the most relaxing scenario if you think.
Yeah. My number 3 is Capture and Control. I think it a bit like Domination, but you don't have to leave models behind, and it can swing quite quickly. Like I've played games where I've captured 4 of the objectives and then tried to get myself broken so the game would end, and it didn't work. And I've had games where my opponent's broken but the game's carried on, and you gradually pick up the objectives. But I think I just quite like the fact that you can move about and like it's all fluid rather than at the end of the game. So
it is nice just to be able to throw down. Throw down a flag basically, and just move it behind. But then you can also if they've got cavalry, they can just run around, hit the flag, and then charge you in the back.
Yeah,
stuff, so.
I quite like this scenario. My only issue with it is it's a bit too similar to. It's not my favourite objective style scenario like that.
Yeah.
That it's like, but I do enjoy it, and like I've got no issues with playing it.
Gethin, number 3.
My number 3 is Command the Battlefield. This is the one that I think I'd like.
Yeah, it's
I
the
thought about putting that
other hold ground type one.
Yeah, so I thought about putting it instead of hold ground.
This is the one where you have to not be in the middle, right? You get points for each quarter.
Yeah, but it's not within 12 rather than 6. So actually, it's a long way. So when
I
it's
like the fact that you kind of have to. Or once again, I've not played it really, but
again, it's a maelstrom as well. Yeah, it's a maelstrom as well. So like it's one of the maelstroms where you kind of want to split up,
Yeah.
But also you don't want to because, like we said earlier, you could get ganked.
Swamped.
Yeah. Like if
So
you...
the idea that it's not just two grouped armies smashing into each other.
much.
It's an actual skirmish, which is what our game's meant to be. It's a skirmish game, so you get the little groups fighting each other, in theory.
Yeah, like I understand. So I played Callum Warfare, Eden's, and the time lapse of the game and the post chat is on the Warfare video that I put out afterwards.
Hashtag plug.
Yeah. And you can kind of see what he's trying to do with his deployment, where he tries to get the dwarves. So his dwarves are at the centre of one edge, and Thranduil and his elves are kind of semi near a corner in the other. And I went for the whole, well, I've got some cavalry, so I'm actually going to try and take out his elves. You would say I got a touch lucky, but also I've got all my army against his elves, just his elves, and his dwarves are slower than anything else that's on the board.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit like, and at that point my two serpent riders just ran off and got the too far quadrants. So yeah,
I do think it's a scenario which, if you don't plan for, you can get suddenly find yourself losing a game you didn't realise you were losing.
Yes, massively.
I guess especially if you haven't got anything for mobility.
Yeah, very much so. What's your number 2, Gethin?
My number 2 is capture control.
Oh.
Look at you guys, all similar lists.
I like it. It's an objective one, which is similar to Hold Ground.
Yeah.
And once again, you can explain it's just like you're planting a flag.
Yeah.
I think.
That's the one thing I don't like about domination is you could be winning like all game, and then you guys can just run away, and it's really, really frustrating. Really frustrating. Ali, what's your number 2?
Breakthrough.
Oh, another objective one.
So for
Have been
Gethin's
redone.
benefit,
Because there used to be there was an old breakthrough. Is this one?
yeah, no, it's
revamped?
different.
Okay.
Also, Breakthrough was the name of actually the custom scenario I wrote.
Yeah.
Which you probably, when you were doing events, which may be where you're thinking.
Wasn't there? There was a breakthrough.
There was
in
a
Desolation.
similar, I don't think it was called Breakthrough.
Oh, okay.
But I know what one you're on about. But yeah, so this one is basically 1 point. So if you think capture control layout, 1 point for your objective there, 2 points for the side objectives, and 4 if you capture your opponent's home objective.
Yeah.
Right, as a short and thing of it. I really like it because of where it's got the different value points.
That's pretty interesting, yeah.
Because it adds an extra interesting element, which is why it goes above capture control and domination for me.
Yeah.
Because I quite like that, and sort of it creates an extra dynamic to how you play. Like you could go full on aggressive for the opponent's objective and hold yours, or you could try and get both side ones, or you can do what I often do, which is diagonal and then kind of loop round and put pressure on that objective and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's one that rewards you for being on the front foot as well. So was it one of the game? It was one of the scenarios we played at Warfare, wasn't it, Ali?
yes.
Because I'm pretty sure I played James Wilson, and it was Hobbits versus my Serpent Horde and Farharad. And I was like, sod it, I'm going on the front line, because if he tries to take the fight to me, I'm high of fight, I've got I can spread out, I've got some spear supports, and if he's not, I can just stand here and shoot. And it ended up being a bit of a shooting war, with me killing 1 or 2 Dunedain and taking the fate and the wound off fate and might off another in the first round of shooting or something like that, and it was like, oh god. But no, like I said, it's nice. I just prefer capture and control.
See, sounds weird. I don't like capture control for the fact that you can tag the objectives.
I think that's
as in, I do
fair,
like the scenario, but as in I'm not as keen on it.
I like capturing
I
control
just-
with eagles. That's great. Just ding, 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 ding. Oh, I'll go back for that one.
For me,
Uh,
capture control is just a bit less tactically interesting because you can do that.
I guess yeah. And we also use outriders, so they don't run away.
My whole army doesn't.
Or bodyguard
Yeah.
dwarves. Or that, yeah.
So my number 2 is assassination.
That's a shock, genuinely. For me,
I like it. It's the whole trying to outwit your opponent a little bit. With the
well, you haven't
target.
put Fog of War down yet. If assassination is in your list, but Fog of War isn't, I'm gonna like have words with you afterwards. Because assassination to me is a poor man's Fog of War.
No, I like assassination because it tries to get one hero onto another rather than just killing an opponent. You have to manufacture your way to get the most points.
It's too single objective.
I was going to say, isn't that
directed
an
at
issue?
one specific hero, which I don't like.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you wound it, it's 1 point. If you kill it, it's 3.
If you're assassin, it's 5.
If your assassin does a wound, it's 5, and if your assassin kills it, it's 7.
Yeah, I don't like how so much is tied into one model.
But the thing is, though, if you get your heroes killed just by chaff, you know your opponent's only getting 3 points.
Yeah,
And what I also like is your leader can just go away and just go to town on stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want your leaders to do stuff, which is also good with Fog of War. I think
Yeah.
my issue from reading Assassination is, as Ali's saying, there's like it's just all tied around that one hero. So if you're against somebody who's playing like
I mean,
uber
your leader,
defensive,
you still do
it's like-
concede leader points in this
so,
as well, do you?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you can be a bit more blasé with your leader.
Yeah. No, for me, it's just when it came out, like the last 6 scenarios, it felt like the least creative one. Like that we got. I would just say oh, you've taken one bit of Fog of War and just expanded it a little bit.
So
Yeah.
I'll
I
move
don't
on to
hate it, but it's not in my.
I'll move on to
I've
my
not played it enough to.
I'll move on to my number 1. It is Seize the... No, of course it's not. It's Fog of War. Fog of War. Yeah, just the whole... Like, we've discussed it at length already, but the whole bluffing and trying to outwit your opponent and doing that kind of thing. And especially, like... I know I prefer bigger games, but when you come down and you play like 450, 500 points and you've both got 2 heroes... It's really funny just watching. You kind of go, oh, do I want to do this? Do I not? Because it's suddenly
It's
massive
a weird
swing.
thing, actually. Look, you may not have like the deception of the hero assassination protection bit at that bit, but it does suddenly like
The
change
swing
the
is
game in an
huge.
interesting
risky.
way. Because Fog of War is one where suddenly like your general can go do like crazy stuff.
Yeah, you can just. They can just do whatever they want. But yeah, it's like I say when
Charge collateral in. Yeah.
like I've played. I think it was Fog of War against Ed, and he was running River. This is 450. He was running River No Knights, and I was running Eagles, and it was like, well, this could be interesting. But no, it's yeah, because he.
He's a
Oh
scum.
yeah, no. I remember what really screwed him over is he trapped one eagle, and picked the order of combats, and he picked one which I could hurl into that combat, or at least he had a good chance, and I was like, cool. Thank you for not letting me knock the whole combat down. And he was like, oh no. And I was
That's what
like,
you get with
Yep.
those like terrible like players who were big back in the day.
Alistair, what is your number 1? I don't even know what it could be.
Recon Tear.
Of course it is. Recon, I'm not going to spell the whole
Really?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ali loves it with dwarves.
It's not even just dwarves. I think it's the best scenario that they've ever written, like with any army, because it's such an interesting change on how you have to play the game. So like you've got to the death on one hand, like as in it's a stand and kill each other. In Recon, you're balancing up so much. How many models do you need to like stop the opponent while you're running off, and like I just love it. I think it's, if you're a good player, recon is like, it will show in recon more than any other scenario. There are like one or two like issues sometimes with it when you get like goblin mercenaries or stuff like that where their rules can, but it doesn't mean you lose, and like you can anticipate that. But it's just one of those ones where, and also if you're doing that with a whole warband of goblin mercenaries, you're not actually using them in the game. But yeah, no, I love recon. I think it's generally the best scenario.
I think it's one of the ones where you can have the worst time because of things like what you're saying with the goblin mercenaries, or just if you've not got any cavalry in your list.
But then you've just got
to run 3 models around.
You just got to plan for that though.
Yeah.
But
So,
I think it's good from a competitive point of view.
Bear in mind, I'm often playing one of the slowest armies in the game, which is also always the highest model count, and I still love it. And I can do well at it.
The issue, so what I'm trying to say is that for a standard to low tier player, it could be a really bad experience. Because they're obviously not as good as you, and also the things of like if they've not tailored like put into thought for that list.
Check, what you're saying is if you don't like recon, you're not a very good player.
No, but I'm saying that players.
I'm happy to take that.
Players that haven't really listed for competitive reasons, or they're just playing it for the standard game, it could be a really bad experience when they run to things like goblin mercenaries, or if they've got a foot army and they run into a few cavalry models and they're not sure how to deal with it. I feel like it could be the worst experience for them, whereas the other ones are a bit more standard, if that makes any sense.
I mean, I kind of get your point, but also
you're completely allowed to put it first. I'm just saying one of the issues with the scenario. I think for a standard point of view, it's not one of the best.
I honestly think it's a thing that people get hung up on.
I think
it's not actually the problem they think it is.
I think it rewards you for being on the front foot.
Yeah. If you can engage higher up the board and hold them up there, it's quite rewarding. But equally, you don't even have to get models off the board to a certain extent. You could play the game of like you break them and then their models which you're getting to the board like run away. And there's just so many variables and so many ways to play it and tactics you can use.
Because if you catch them like midway up the board, so like 24 inches on, and you suddenly start running guys left, right, and centre while still engaging them, suddenly you're putting doubt into your opponent's mind.
Yeah, you have to make so many decisions when you're playing recon, which is like it's there going like every model that you commit to either the battle line or going that way can have a significant impact. Like me just running one dwarf at the board edge. Like means that my opponent has to make a decision at some point going, can I just let that one dwarf go? Or is that he gonna get off? Do I need to send 3 guys after him to then like stop him, or can I just do one or something? Like, that's why I like it.
It's the other thing, if you've got a hero with March, you can suddenly get them up to the battle line and like engage your opponent, like go, right, I'm calling her at March, people are like, okay. And then you just engage the front like their guys, and suddenly you're marching, and suddenly you're like 7 inches, like 6-7 inches away, so they've got to use like pretty much the whole movement to get back to you.
On this topic, I'm going to say one thing to people who are new to the game or not very experienced. When someone calls March, they can still charge, as long as they haven't moved the hero. Because I've seen so many people get caught out. Like, I've done it to people who are less experienced, where I'll call March, they'd be like, oh, they're not going to charge. They've got priority, so they jump into my charge range.
Yeah.
I'm like...
Just on a tangent of that, a cool thing that I worked out with my evil list, where I've got Morgul Knights and an Orc Drummer, is because the Orc Drummer only affects Orcs, I will sound the drum, and then my opponent's like, oh, that's fine, and then they move up into 10 inches range, and then like my Orcs move, and then my Morgul Knights go, cool, and charge in, and they're like, what? You did the drum? It's like, yeah, they're not Orcs, they don't get affected. And so you can do like weird shenanigans like that.
You can do that with Black Numenorians and whatever as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Black Numers on the list because they're slower, whereas the Organised do. But anyway, going back to Recon, I think nearly all of my favourite games that I've ever played and most rewarding have been Recon. There's a couple others which generally are the ones which are on the list, but Recon's had the most frequent sort of
Yeah.
top tier games for me.
Right, Gethin, last one, and then we'll wrap this up within an hour.
Is it Recon?
It is Domination.
Oh, old school.
You know what's really interesting is a long time ago, not even that long ago, but most people have said Domination is the best scenario. Like if you did a poll of the community.
I've never really liked it.
But it's considered like it's a scenario they used to balance the whole
Yeah.
models, like how it performs in Domination. I'll let Geffen explain why he likes it though.
I just think it's a bit like it's the next step up from To the Death. To the Death is very balanced, but then I feel like Domination makes the game even more balanced. I guess that's why they use it, because it's not just about the killing, and it's not just they can't just sit back with an archery line and shoot. They actually have to do stuff with the objectives and move forward to get them. You can get split around the board because there are 5 objectives, so it's not just you do still get games where it's straight up a battle line, but there are still like groups that go off to try and flank or to get to the home objective and things like that.
Yeah.
I think quite interesting. I like it.
I like it too.
It's one that I'm always happy to play. I don't think
I've
it's
never
not-
complained about playing Domination. It's just there going. Yeah,
It's also
I think
you can't get
for
screwed
me-
over. I don't.
Yeah,
If you get screwed over, it's because of tactics and dice rather than the scenario. Whereas there are definitely missions where the scenario can.
yeah. For me, it's
be
just
pain.
it's almost because it's so fine as a scenario.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Ali can't use his big brain.
It's
He
just
doesn't
middle
like
of the
it.
ground.
It's just a little boring.
Mhm.
Whereas Breakthrough for me just has that little bit more intrigue to it. The people may have noticed my top 5 generally is scenarios that I find the most interesting to play, and also I've kind of got a variation. Like it was almost unintentional. I went through and picked like my favourite sort of scenario types.
Yeah. Nice. Right.
Very serious now.
Serious time now.
What about our least favorite?
I think that would be a very quick top 2.
FAQ time?
Both include the relic, I assume.
FAQ time. I think.
So we're clearing up any
before-
rules queries we got wrong in
Yeah.
season 1 or
Yeah, we'll do these things at the end. So should we go through the as they are on the
I think we should just skip it.
what is going on
Just focus
here?
on the important ones that people care about, like
There we
some
are.
plays.
I don't think we need to go. I don't think we need to go through all of them because
Yeah. There's
Uh,
not too many in honesty.
Right, let's go through. Let's just go through them in
there's a
order.
lot of
To be
small
honest.
ones.
So, Armies of the Hobbit. Let's go through this one first. First things first.
Please.
It's not 2 documents anymore.
That is
Yeah.
true. I like this.
I
was
like
very
this a
confused
lot.
At first.
Yes,
I
me
was very
too.
worried.
Yeah.
Me
We all
too.
thought that they'd only uploaded half of them. At
Yeah.
first.
This one's actually got some pretty big changes.
So, right, yes, it does. So we're just going to cover the magenta stuff because that's
Are we going to read the fact
Bites
that
the
it's
way.
been changed to February 2022 then? Because that's in magenta.
no.
Wait, which is the one that's? Yeah, the Arms of the Hobbit one is actually coming from the future.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, like if
Yes, it is.
someone was on about it's only valid when it gets to March.
Yeah. And guys in the comments, let us know your thoughts and feelings on the FAQ as we go through, and we'll kind of jump back to when we see your comments. So the first one. When a warbat uses pluck special rule, if it fails the roll to inflict a strength 4 on its target, does it still get to roll to see if it knocks its target prone? Yes.
Clarification.
Yeah, clarification?
Yeah, it's kind of was a bit confusing.
Yeah, I thought it was if it didn't take one, you didn't do the other, something like that. But it's good to see you roll for both.
Commas were the bane of Jay's existence again.
Yeah.
Or it could have used one or it's like miss one of them.
Yeah,
I think about 75% of these FAQ changes are clarifications like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yeah.
what FAQ should be, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of erratas, but not many.
Yeah.
So question number 2. If the Goblin King is set ablaze as a result of channeled version of Flame Burst, will you still get to use his Blubbering Mass special rule? Not against the initial hit, but each not against the initial strength 9, but any strength 5 after that. Yes, he can. Makes sense.
So
Yeah, the initial power is magical. Afterwards, it's just natural fire.
Yeah, pretty
for
much.
people that don't know, just in case, the Goblin King gets a save against any wound that's not magical elven blade.
Yes.
So that's what the clarification was, just saying if
Yeah.
the strength 5 hits are also magical.
Perfect.
As Alice said, no, it's just a bit of fire.
Yeah. No
Fire
more.
ceases to be magical after
Yeah.
ignited.
No more magenta in the designer's commentary. Now we move on to the errata. So, we had this discussion on Discord, I know.
Several times.
Elrond, Foresight of the Elder. Change the second sentence to read, during the priority phase, after the dice has been rolled, so long as he is alive and on the battlefield, Elrond may choose to alter the controlling player's dice roll. So this was discussed at length with Maelstrom particularly. And going, I'm going to come on second with my one warband.
I think that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
It was one which I'd never thought about before, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the Rivendell Knight players had been using it to do that.
I know that I've had discussions with Josh about he's played against Ed, and Ed used it.
Yeah, but generally when the conversation then came up about it, and I looked at it was like, actually, I don't think you should be able to do that.
No, we were like, me and Ali are quite often on the same page, and we just were like, well, Ring of Durin, Elrond's Foresight, and there's a few other bits and pieces, like Saruman's Palantir, Grima and his might buffs. Just like, no, you should be on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It was like Madrill specifies it affects his warband at all times.
That was the thing that we said, like,
on.
usually if you can use it while you're not on the battlefield, it specifies it. And so in my head, like, any special rule or item can't be used unless if you're on the battlefield.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's I think that's the major one in this one. Next one, Lady of Light, Galadriel, Lady of Light. Change the Lady of Light's heritage to the Hero of Fortitude.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a full hero army. You can't use models anyway.
Make sure to read Galadriel, Lady of Light. Not Galadriel.
Yeah.
This is not Lothlorien.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just
It is
White Council.
Galadriel, Lady of Light.
And this is not her rank. This is just how she appears in the White Council.
Yes.
Don't worry,
I will
Celeborn is not as important as her. Captain's on her level.
Yeah.
I will say the justification they tried to do on the Warhammer community page was entertaining.
It wasn't. It was entertaining.
Have you not read that bit?
No.
It's again because basically when she's in the form, she's so reliable and unstable or something like that, uncontrolled. Like she releases command to the others because she can't be trusted, and it's just like no, you could just put.
She's not in good command, what?
Yeah, but basically it was them trying to make it because it's the community article.
Justify it.
And it's going, well, you could just say, it turns out there's a lot of people out there who are dropping her into lists she shouldn't be in, and this solves that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they could have also just been rejoiced. Like, she's not in charge of the White Council. She lets other people rule it as well. They wanted a law reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of quite funny going like, that's not the reason. It's not.
That's such a good change.
I think that's it's a change that I've been calling for at least a year.
It was the simplest way to fix her because within the list her profile was fine. Not that anyone's going to be taking the White Council really anymore. You take the Vanquishers.
Yeah.
But like she's fine. Like she's fairly pointed. It was only the fact that she suddenly made Boromir of Gondor ridiculously good. Like
Boromir of the White Tower.
Yeah, like
you might still take the White Council because of one of the Vanquisher changes.
Yeah.
I still don't think you would.
You probably wouldn't, but if thematically,
yeah.
Like if you weren't going competitive, you just wanted to take your favourite White Council members.
If you want to take Glorfindel and White Council, for example.
Yeah. So
or you don't want to take one of the wizards.
So for me, and I know this is popping up on our Discord, and I'm sure Lee won't mind me saying, but like Lee and the Swindon guys are relatively new, and I think they'd seen other lists where Lady of Light was in there, and you just kind of like you see them go, oh, what do you think of this list? And it's like Iron Hills with just Lady of Light dropped in, and you're like, well, what does she bring to the list? It's like, oh well, it's the blinding light, it's the banishment, it's the fortified spirit, it's the -1 terror. And I'm like, yeah, but she does that for every list. She doesn't do anything explicitly differently for you. And with that, you could get like.
I mean, Guahe is quite a good example in that sort of situation.
Yeah.
I mean, you already don't die to bowfire.
Yeah.
Like, your heroes aren't really needing extra magical protection half the time. And whereas Guahe, on the other hand, goes, oh, suddenly you've got a monster who can go really fast.
Yeah.
Or do
Guahe
like,
is scary.
Yeah, it's like, it actually brings something different.
Guahe is, like, it's the same with Gladriel with the allaying, and you don't really see him in a lot of lists, though, because the thing with Gladriel was she gave the list a bunch of buffs, whereas Guahe is just a strong model.
Yeah.
So it's not as
all I'm
oppressive.
gonna say is that
So it's Spider Queen.
I can hear all of those ETC lists now being like scribbled out,
Yeah.
and like the GT list being scribbled out, and people ripping it up, and then maybe going, Guahe's the same points. I'll put him in instead.
So we talked to Leon Curry of the German scene quite often on Discord, and he raised the point of, do you think there will be more Nazguls and Wraiths and whatnot? Because apparently Angmar's quite strong over in Germany. Like, even more so now because the Lady of Light's not a thing. And I went, I said to him, in the UK meta, don't see masses of them.
I mean, you get Witch King is still probably the most popular hero.
Yeah, but what I mean is you don't see him and go, oh shit, how am I going to deal with him? You kind of go, he can do
it's
one
the same
thing.
As if you face a wizard.
Yeah, this is going to be annoying, but
it will mean that those players feel more likely they can take a Wraith without just in a good and evil, without just being screwed.
And they're going to be happier.
Because the thing is, Wraiths aren't broken this edition.
No,
they were
not
edition.
at all.
But actually, for example, the one thing, so my evil GT list, I don't have a single spirit in it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't kind of intentional, but it also meant that while this was in, because I was like, oh, it's good for evil, you'll probably see a lot of Lady of Light.
Yeah.
Because they're going, I know my magic casters aren't a void anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to probably, but I could just go, oh, it may be worth actually sticking a Ring Wraith in instead, just so I got the compel. Or
I think that's also one of the best reasons for this change that we're not going to see, because good v evil, if you took in your good list, you were like, yeah, I'm probably running into something I can destroy with this or just mess up. And the fact it was obviously not an auto include, because I think SPG is one of those games where there's, even if there is the best thing, especially the UK scene, not a lot of people are going to take it.
No.
There's people like playing the thematic or the favourite list and stuff. But
also,
it was just a very powerful auto include.
I think they've got the calibre of players that if you start seeing that, whatever that is regularly, people start to build lists against it.
Well, actually using my evil army again, it's there going Lady of Light does nothing really against my army list.
Yeah.
And they're going, I've got a shaman, so the -1 courage and fury doesn't matter. I don't have anything for you to banish, and I don't have any shooting. So someone puts Lady of Light in, I go, okay, you've just got an expensive free attack, defense free model.
Yeah.
That is literally, so if I face Lady of Light, I was like, yay, because
it's not
completely
a problem.
nullified by what I've taken. But I think that's more subject because we've got a bigger scene.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how the German scene has been quite big sometimes, but you don't have.
I don't know what it is currently.
But we've got so many players that you can't just go one size fits all, really.
They do a lot of good for evil, which is why Lady of Light was cropping up all over the place. But I was getting fed up of seeing Lady of Light just in Gondor, in Minas Tirith lists, or dropped into Dwarven lists or whatever, and it's just and I know people can play the game however they want, but not seeing people do that. And also it's kind of she wasn't being top table. Yeah. From what
unless if it was someone like Jasmine, who's finely tuned list.
I've seen some guys at Warfare. Someone took Elessar and Lady of Light with some Fountain Court, and he was like, "Yeah, I've got 17 models at 550 or something like that." I was like, "Why?" I think
like
I think I
those
had
low model
like
count lists.
30,
I don't think
32.
people realise. So like that Jasmine and Jakub, like most often taken and done well with in GVHL, like they like be 700, 800 points and only got 30 or sub 30 models.
Yeah.
But there's so many like maximizations. Like usually, like you'll have a Phaedra, a Boromir, Gondor, and like these heroes which can suddenly, like in one turn when they're all protected, can just instantly kill 12 models in a heroic combat.
Well, they just make it's getting that numbers parity, isn't it?
Yeah, and so like you can do that after turn 1, and then suddenly you are equal, and it's just like
That's also the skill as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like if you don't know, because those lists, the reason why I don't like them, because often you only need one thing to go wrong, and then it can like crumble. It
just crumbles
pretty quickly,
massively.
Which is why Jasmine, I think, like will, if you look at the rankings sporadically, win event and then not do as well, then win event and then not do as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, because I tend to take more reliable lists historically, like I've always been, like I may not win as often, but I'll always be around the top 5.
Yeah.
When I've taken my dwarfs, but that's kind of list style kind of thing. So
yeah, massively. Right, we will move on to Armies of the Lord of the Rings.
Reloading up. I do think that change means that only really Boromir of Gondor is the only other hero in good that I see dropped into lists a lot.
Guahir possibly. But
Guahir I almost don't have as big an issue with because Guahir can fly everywhere.
having played with Guahir and Eagles, also it can go wrong spectacularly quickly.
I think, and Guahir's not done loads, but in the UK, I know I've seen a lot more international lists do it.
Yeah.
Boromir of Gondor is the only other one.
Yeah.
But also Boromir of Gondor used to come as a pair often with Lady of Light, which you now can't do unless you really invest in points.
That's true.
Yeah, you've got to take Glorfindel or
Radagast, or basically any of the other heroes.
Yeah,
you double your points basically.
Yeah, which is fine.
If you want to take that in your list.
Yeah. So, onto the Armies of the Lord of the Rings. Talking of Boromir. If Boromir uses Horn of Gondor and one of the models he's engaged in a fight with has a special rule that allows them to automatically pass courage tests, does this take precedence even if the model has a lower courage than other models in the same fight? Yes. Essentially, if there's one with bodyguard, they all pass. Nice and simple.
Another clarification.
Yeah. Does the Fangorn army bonus mean Ent models cannot be knocked prone? No. Ent models can still be knocked prone as normal, which I don't know if there's many situations that's
Is it
viable.
A barge from like a higher strength model?
What's higher strength? Sauron?
Yeah, Balrog.
Bjorn, if he heroic strengths.
Yeah, possibly.
No, Bjorn is just
It doesn't.
because an Ent's only strength 7, isn't it?
Oh, okay. I thought they were 8.
I thought they were 8s.
Oh, is it? Or maybe equipment. Yeah, but I don't think you need to be higher. Like, you may not even need to be high strength to be able to barge someone.
Yeah. But it's
if they can't back away, they could be knocked prone.
Yeah.
You can't held them unless if you're higher strength.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So the exception to them, they can be knocked prone as normal, apart from Cold Winds, Nature's Wrath, Wrath of Bruinen, and Sorcerer's Blast.
Oh, here's another way they can be knocked prone: if they're stood on an edge and they're trapped, and then they fall off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they somehow fail a climb check as well.
Yeah.
If they've got something big enough to climb. I guess if they were trying to climb.
That's how they. That's why they can get up to the top of Tower of Orthanc.
Yeah.
They just kept on falling.
So, whilst mounted on Treebeard, can Merry and Pippin be targeted individually by magical powers or special rules? Yes. Though any magical power or special rules that target the entire model will still also affect Treebeard, who can then attempt to resist as normal if applicable.
Because sort of thing about this, can you target? Can Sorcerer's Blast be specifically targeted? Or is it the model?
No.
Because if you could target
the model.
ping them off.
I think it does say model. But based on history of how magical powers and all of that stuff gets changed, like, and that we all do it wrong, like, I wouldn't be surprised if an FAQ came out later in the day.
I'll
But-
have a quick look. See what it says. But
But to me, Sorcerer's Blast, I don't think it says rider or mount, because Black Dart explicitly says.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
so
That's
you can
what I
black
think.
dart
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, you can Black Dart them, and they have to resist, and Truebeard can't. So while you're looking at that, we'll move on.
Enemy model. Yeah.
Enemy model, cool. Can Floy Stonehand use his Lawmaster special rule to negate special rules that are not listed as either active or passive, such as those found with the Legendary Legion or a Warbeast model's ability to trample? No. Floy can only use his Lawmaster ability to negate a special rule that is listed as either active or passive.
Clarification.
Yeah.
But because it's like every FAQ has to have a Floy, like
Yeah.
entry just for
With the Floyd
tradition.
tax. The Floyd tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, what? Yeah. there's
Tom and
there's three more questions above the Floy one. All Floy. Tom and Goldberry, do they have to take a courage test to charge an invisible model? No, they may charge an invisible model without having to take a courage test. Makes sense law-wise. Carry on. Can the Watcher in the water still use its tentacle rule if it has moved over half its move allowance that turn? Yes, although it will suffer the -1 penalty for moving and shooting.
Would have assumed as much.
Yeah, what's its shoot value? 3? I think.
Somewhere between 1 and 6.
Let's look.
So yeah, that makes it, yeah. It's a throwing weapon, so yeah,
I mean, I feel like that's a thing that if CJ was here, he'd be like raving about in some
Yeah.
way.
I was going to say,
yeah, pretty much.
either a fantastic change or it's ruined the entire model.
Does the Golden King of Abrakan's Riches Beyond Renown special rule decrease an enemy model's courage value for the duration of the turn or remainder of the game? It's just for the turn.
Clarification.
Yep. I don't think that's...
think-
It's a clarification, it's for the whole turn.
Yeah.
Which
'Cause-
means, say you, I'm trying to think, like,
If you did it in the move phase.
or say he took a break test and you reduced his courage value, and then they used will to pass it, and then it comes to he wants to charge a terrifying model and would have
Oh
to
yeah,
do
it
another one.
continues.
It will
Or-
still be like
yeah.
at -2
Or Spectres.
courage.
Yeah,
or
Spectres or
something
anything like
that. Yeah, so I don't think it will come up that often, but it's actually quite a interesting clarification /
Yeah.
change.
Even if it's not intended.
Because the only things that continue over turns are Drain Courage, Wither.
Wounds, obviously.
Yeah, like that is in like magical spells that carry on.
Like affect your stats value.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
just those two.
shatter to an extent, but that's not
Yeah.
stats. That's war gear.
Yeah, I think it's just those two.
Yeah, nice. Can models other than the Monk War Leader or a Mahud Beastmaster be placed on the Fox section outside of the Helder? No, any other models that are riding the Helder must be placed within the Helder. Makes sense.
I haven't. Wasn't this the question that someone that we know asked, but wasn't the question that he asked? And like, they interpreted
Yes,
it
so
differently.
Michael Bradford said that he knows someone who runs a Beastmaster, but puts him at the back of the Helder, or like the Grace Beast Commander at the back of the Helder.
Okay.
So there's more in the ways and line of sight and all that jazz.
So it's basically, can you choose to not put the Beastmaster there?
Yeah,
Rather than, can you put someone else there?
yeah,
Okay.
which is interesting, but that's not been answered. But so we will move on. An errata. I don't know what
pretty-
it is said before, but Dead of Dunharrow. Additionally, models from this army list that contain between 8 and 12 models do not need a hero to be the captain of the warband. Not
I assume it was like 6 and 12? Because 8
No. No, it's 8. It was. I don't know what the ruling the army bonus says beforehand.
Maybe it was with built odd or something.
Yeah, I think it was.
Maybe it didn't include captain, and then there was some weird thing with like deployment needing to be within 6 inches
probably
of the
didn't say
captain.
need a hero. It probably just said didn't need a captain of the warband or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then you got Elrond. And then
And
another relatively big one. Easterling Dragon Knight, Knights of the Dragon Cult. Change it to read Dragon Knights may only include Easterling models with the Black Dragon upgrade or Dragon Cult acolytes in their warband.
Yeah. I remember this
We
was a thing
expected.
I spotted straight away when I saw them, and I wrote in my I think my very first profile review on the blog.
Oh,
Hashtag
check you
plug.
out. Plug.
But yeah, and I was just like, at the time I was there going, I'm assuming this will change because
Yeah.
it seems an oversight. Like,
I don't think it's an oversight though, because, like I say, because the rule is in the Dragon
I'm more
Knight's
surprised
profile.
It didn't change last FAQ though,
maybe they were clarifying things.
because we've
for
had an
the
FAQ
new book or
since
something.
that profile came out, which is why I originally thought, oh,
True.
maybe in the rule book there's a thing that clarifies it.
True, but maybe it just means the rulebook's super close, or the source
Yeah,
book's
like they
super
think
close.
it's like, oh, we better do this because
Yeah.
they're looking like
But yeah, so yeah, it makes sense.
Expected and makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think there was any way they could have included that in the new book coming up, because it's part of the Dragon Knight's rule and not a Black Dragon rule.
Yeah.
Or
Going back
That's
to
just
the
like Legendary
community
Legion.
article, I do like how each time they went about it's like, we noticed this,
yeah.
like they couldn't do this, so we thought to correct it.
This was pointed out.
With the Dead and Golden Harrow,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
only bonus is, second line is, additionally, warbands from this armor list that contain 8 or more models do not need a hero to be captured in the warband. So, because it's 8 or more, people could have taken warbands in 20 or 30 or something like that.
Very clever.
So you could have a giant warband. I don't think I've ever seen anyone ever do that.
Yeah, because
That would be insane.
the hero is what defined your warband limit previously. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I think one
but-
thing that I've noticed with these, I think I put this out in our Facebook chat, is there's the two big changes with Galadriel and the Vanquishers.
Whoa! Spoilers. Some people may have not
Okay.
known that yet.
Well. But a lot of them seem to be clarifications on things which people who've been in the community for a couple of years have always played it like this.
Yeah.
But because there's so many more people coming in, there's more people picking up on these things,
Yeah.
or they've not been to these tournaments. Because a lot of the people in the community have, before 2 years ago type thing, generally were going to events, or they were watching people
Yeah.
on YouTube playing the game, so they were like, oh, that's how you play it. And it's the whole thing of, I remember when Kalman got back into the game, he didn't even read the rulebook.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't actually
Yeah.
read what the rules were. He was just like, well, I played against people, and
I still
that's how they
haven't.
played it.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of
I
thing.
just do
yeah.
what I'm told.
It's like people who are new into the game, like for example, Rowan. He only just started the game last year, so he went through the entire rulebook and read everything.
Yeah.
And it's just
in a
because
weird
there's
way,
people
like
doing that, they're picking up on these things.
with
So
each new edition as
clarifications.
well, I'm more likely to get the rules wrong because
Yeah.
sometimes there's little rules changes, which as an old player, as it were, you just presume have stayed the same unless someone's pointed out highlight. It's only when
Yeah.
the new players come in and they've actually read the rule book,
Yeah.
and then they suddenly go, "This is how it works." It's like, nah. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I think it is. And
So-
then we all go,
So
guys, we've
So-
been doing this wrong.
I genuinely fall into the boat of, when the new edition came out, I read the rulebook pretty much cover to cover.
Oh, did you?
And even
You
into
still miss things because you're not.
Oh
gonna,
god, yeah. But Into the West 2020, I
Hashtag plug.
took my Eagles and played Dan Entwistle and hurled into a combat and knocked everything prone, bar my Eagle. And he was like, "No, that's not how it works." I was like, "Read the rule, and I won't interject. You just read the rule." And he was like, "Oh god, yeah, it does. That's stupid."
I was about to say, I could tell you exactly what Dan's reaction is.
Yeah, he
He
went,
had such a good,
"That was stupid." He was just like, "That's
how the rules
stupid."
work.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know how it works, but that's just stupid." And I was like,
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that hasn't changed because that's how I always used to do with my Eagles last edition.
I can't remember, but
But the
it
thing
just
is, you don't often face an army. with
no,
two-
that's not how it worked last edition, because you could hurl down a line and it would only knock your opponents down.
Oh yeah, but I
the
always
big
used
thing
to-
about now is it knocks everyone in the combat
Yeah.
down, but it still wouldn't knock an eagle down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's been a while since I used eagles.
Yeah.
4 years ago. Last
Yeah. Right, we
It's gonna be
will.
more than that.
We'll move on quickly. We'll
8
skip.
years ago.
We'll skip battle companies. I don't know.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Hey, I've done a Battle Companies tournament now. I'm like an expert in everything.
There
There's
is
nothing in Gondor at war.
nothing in Gondor at all.
Match play, there's a few
Match
things.
play, there's a few things. Right. So, this is one that I know has been asked a few times. In scenarios where you score victory points for wounding a specific hero, such as the leader, if a hero is wounded then subsequently healed with renew, etc., do they still count as having wounded for the purpose of victory points? Yes.
This is a classic example of. I'm pretty sure it's an FAQ last edition,
Okay.
Okay.
and so that's why everyone experienced
Yeah,
played it this
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But because it never made it into the FAQ this edition, and like it's only the new
Yeah.
players coming in now, I think they're like, and especially with renew suddenly being in vogue
A big
because
thing.
of like
Yeah.
vanquishers. I think that's
Yeah.
why it's
Also,
popped up again.
like, transferring FAQs between editions must be super hard because you can't write that into the. You can't write
I
that
was
into
going to say
the
you
rules.
have to day one FAQ it.
Yeah.
Like-
So usually the way it works is most of those rules would be, when you come to write the rules next, you just
reword
add a
it.
clarification. Like in the renew spell, you just put, like you regain a wound, however any victory points conceded remain. Or like.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
including
that's
all
how
of them.
you would have to do this.
yeah.
One. This one's probably a bit more tricky, which is.
Oh
why
yeah,
it's in
that's
an FAQ again.
that's what I mean. So the next one, in scenarios where you score victory points for breaking the enemy force, if the game ends at the end of the turn in which one force has killed enough models to break the enemy force at the start of next turn, do they still score victory points for breaking the opponent? Yes.
Again, this is a thing that came from last edition.
Also,
And, like,
also,
it's an FAQ last
it's
edition.
it's how people, it's people play breaking wrong. They calculate breaking in the end phase rather than priority.
Start phase, yeah.
So yeah, like,
Then
yeah,
I can understand that makes it once again for newer players, where it's
Yeah.
like, well, you work out broken at the start of the turn, the turn's not started.
yeah. No,
Whereas
like this
I think
is
Adami's
just a
gonna say is
clarification,
what
but
we
yeah,
used to do.
yeah,
I remember
it's
my first ever GBHO event. This was a hot sort of
yeah,
thing that came up.
Was it because of you?
No, like, generally, I was on bottom tables. I just remember, who was it? JT at the time was a TO. And it was like the first event he ever ran, and I think it was Ed and Louis,
oh god,
Throwing
okay,
fists.
Louis Joe, or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Talking about it, and it was like significant, and so like I'm pretty sure it became if it wasn't an official FAQ, it was a GHL FAQ.
Yeah.
Kind of like this is
Yeah.
how it works.
I was going to say there might have been some things that from last edition that were GBHL FAQ'd rather than officially FAQ'd.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, like I said, I think this is where, especially when I play new people and they go, "Oh, I'm broken," it's like, no, not yet. Like,
Yeah.
starting the
Well,
next turn.
The main
now
one
you're
is
broken.
the like Maelstrom, where it's just like, oh, 1-2 for when you're broken. Well, I'm broken, and it's like, no, you're not broken.
No,
At the start of the turn, you're broken.
yeah.
So I've broken you this turn, but we don't roll yet.
It just means you get like an extra turn. Another one, in scenarios where models exit the board, do they need to move their entire base off the board, or move part of their base off the board, or just touch the edge of the board? They will need to move part of their base off the board.
basically touch it, and then you're 1 millimeter over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is another one. I don't think I've ever played someone who's insisted I move the entire model off.
And there is an argument for it, which is pretty
Yeah.
bad, which is when you're coming
Yeah.
on the board, you place the model,
Yeah.
and then you like move. Is that how a lot
That's
of
true.
people do it?
On the flip side, you could go, well, I'm touching the board edge. That's like me coming onto a board edge.
That's weird.
But yeah, like,
It's like I know with Warbeast, if the mummic space slightly went off, then you had to remove it.
yeah. So I think this is the cleanest way to clarify it.
I mean, I would have just said touching personally, because like the idea that
doesn't
you
make
have
much
to
difference.
just I know it doesn't. It just the idea you have to go
Well, no, yeah.
0.00000 reoccurring,
Yeah.
then a 1 somewhere at that
Yeah.
point. Like off the edge, it just seems a bit. I mean, you may as well just said touching.
Yeah, a bit tedious, but
But it's a fair enough ruling. It makes no difference.
Yeah.
It's just how they phrased it.
yeah, pretty much. So, there's one down here. In Clash by Moonlight scenario,
Flash.
if models have been illuminated by an effect such as blinding light, can they be targeted by shooting attacks, magical powers, or special rules at distances greater than 12 inches away? Yes, though shooting attacks will still gain a bonus of +1 when rolling to wound.
I think that's just a clarification because with blinding,
Yeah.
like it hints that that's the rule because of with
Yeah.
blinding light and illumination, but it never actually says.
Like,
So,
illuminating part of the battlefield needs to be written out in advanced rules somewhere. Just a little thing saying that stuff that illuminates the battlefield does this, this, and this.
There's also a similar weird FAQ that reminded me of is like the whole this pool of darkness thing.
Yeah.
If there's a wall here, so you got models here and models here, then your pool of darkness starts here. It doesn't go through the wall anymore. It came in like last FAQ or 2 FAQs ago.
Yeah.
what's Pool of Darkness? What?
That's
Shadow
the
Lord.
Oh, okay. All right.
So like his ability, and so blinding light as well doesn't go through walls anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a mechanic we rarely see. Like the only other thing that's similar is stand fast, which everyone forgets.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes, I would assume it does count for Lady of Light.
Yeah, because it's an illuminated thing.
It's an illuminated thing.
I don't think it would. I think a Lady of Light would go through. Rules wise.
No,
It makes sense
no,
when people act, but-
no. As in for this FAQ question,
Yeah.
Lady of Light
Oh,
is blinding.
I didn't read the chat. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Whereas,
Yeah.
whereas the follow-up one,
The follow-up one is in Clash by Moonlight scenario. Can models with the Cave Dweller special rule still see enemy models at distances greater than 12 inches away? Yes. Additionally, shooting attacks that target a model cave dweller will not get the +1 to wound when rolling to wound.
That's actually pretty big.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but they're
It
not getting
suddenly
the
makes
+1.
Goblin
It's actually pretty-
Prowlers go like
Yeah.
when they get this scenario, because they're like, wait, my throwing weapons get +1 to wound, but you don't get back at me.
Yeah. Just goblins in general.
I was gonna say
you
you,
+1 at all.
you could just sit back and shoot with goblins normally outside of 12 inches.
Like, suddenly even 5+ shoot value with +1 to wounds, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do Goblin Town Goblins get Cave Dweller as well?
Yes, I would assume
I
so.
don't think so. I think they only have the hordes. I'll check.
I swear they had Cave Dweller. Because what was it, just +1 to leap tests?
What's leap, jump, climb?
Yeah, something like that.
Barrel roll. Acolytes don't. They've got their own special thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they've got...
probably mercenaries have it.
yeah, I would have thought.
Oh, if Mercenary's got it then, like... they're not-
Yeah, they must have
Where
it.
is Goblin Town?
It's after, like, the trolls.
After oh god, why?
I don't know, it's quite late on in the...
No, it's not as
book.
annoying as Murder being like here and then Mordor being like 3 armies later. And it's just
Hey, it's 2.
is it too?
It's
Like,
Barad-dûr, Angmar, Mordor.
Yeah, they've all got it. So
And then it's
it's like-
then it's Moria, then it's Isengard, and then it gets a bit weird because it's like canned, and then Serpent Horde and Far Harada a little bit later. It's bizarre, but that must just be layout of pages, etc. So that's the only ones for the match play guide. So
Golem's got it.
no.
more shooting Golem with +1.
I mean, he just
No.
puts a ring on anyway, doesn't he?
So we're in the main rulebook. There'll be quite a few in here, so we'll just try and
Yeah,
rattle
that's
through
Golem.
them. We'll just try and rattle through them. If a model rerolls a dice, does the second one also count as a natural roll? Yes.
Clarification.
Yeah. What happens if two models both wish to use the same special rule to automatically gain priority, such as Saruman using the Palantir? In this situation, players will roll off for priority as normal, though both will count as having used the special rule.
Clarification.
Yeah. A bit
Saruman v Saruman.
a bit
Roll off.
a bit silly if your opponent goes, oh, I'm going to use this, and you go, yeah, I'm going to use it too. No, just save it for next turn.
Unless it's really
But
important.
you may be doing it just to make sure they use theirs. Because
Yeah.
you may have a might advantage.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. You don't. Yeah, they might just not want to
Yeah.
give you a free thing.
In what situations can models move off the board? Models may only move off the board in scenarios that specifically allow it, or if there's a special rule that permits them to do so, such as a warbeast that's stampeding. Models may only ever move off the board voluntarily. They may not be forced off the board by the effect of an enemy model, such as command, compel magical power. Models cannot back away off the board. Cool.
Big clarification once again for newer players, I think.
What I'm going to say is that I think all the Warbeast clarification shows that Dan Entwistle had some more input in this.
Quite possibly, because we will have some more a bit later on.
Yeah.
In scenarios that use reinforcements rule for models to enter the board, can a player purposefully pick a point for the warband to arrive where they will not be able to fit in order to force them to not enter the board and have to wait till a later turn? No. Makes sense. You have to come on the board. When a warband enters the board via the rules for reinforcements, the player choosing where they must enter must choose a point where they can enter and one where the entire warband will be able to move onto the board.
I think that's another carryover, because I remember that from last edition.
For me, it's more the clarification that the entire warband has to be able to come on, which I think is important, because that one was always a bit vague, and I don't think ever was actually properly clarified.
Next one. Do models' weapons provide an in-the-way roll if they are the only part of the model that is obscuring the target of a shooting attack? No. If the only part of the model that is obscuring the target of a shooting attack is its war gear, weapons, shields, banners, etc., then this is not sufficient to provide an in-the-way roll. I saw someone talking about shields earlier, and surely they would provide one. But most of the time, the arm is down the middle of the shield that is also blocking line of sight.
So my biggest thing... I'll let Ali go.
Yeah. So for me, because it's not in the way, but it's line of sight. So if you've got a big enough...
No, this is talking about an in-the-way roll.
Yeah, I know, I just mean, but as in
Still blocks line of sight, though.
Yeah.
So you can have these massive shields, which mean you can't get line of sight.
Yeah,
can't see through a Vault Warden.
But they were also so Vault Warden shields, but then they don't provide an in the way roll potentially, and it's just that seemed weird.
Well,
it's
from my point,
the thing is
from
there,
my
so
point
I
of view,
see it,
yeah,
but then it's not there. Because if you go, oh no, I can see it. I was okay, I'll move my shield for you guys.
Yeah.
Kind of
But my whole thing is, you don't necessarily know what's behind the big Vault Warden shield, so therefore you can't shoot it.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, why is it then not an in the way?
Because the model is that.
I don't actually have an issue.
They are that accurate.
Yeah.
But it's just they're going
I think the thing with shields, most of the time there is an arm in the way if you move the shield out the way, so it's not a problem.
Also, this came up. Do you guys remember the whole cave drake in the way situation years ago? Whereas a cave drake with 5 goblins dotted around, which ones you do in the ways through? Which the model isn't sitting like that. The model isn't sitting there with a shield out in front of it. It's a flowing obviously, from game terms, the model's not moving during your shooting phase, but they are actually fluidly moving. That arm's not going to stand there. The model itself is going to be in the way, but him swinging his arms, having a jolly stroll, it's not going to block. It's probably not block an arrow.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a lot of these shields, which are that, or banners, is is that hand going to count as being in the way?
Hands do.
Oh, that's the point.
Hands
do. But that's what I mean. Is so it's there going we're saying because the banners or the weapons are mobile fit, but that hand is always in that position, and it's kind of a.
But I guess if it's a thing of shield this side, that's not blocking. Shield that side, it is because there's a hand in the way. I guess technically. If hands block.
You just
I kind of
ignore
get
it.
where the FAQ is coming from. I'm not quite sure it's done the job it's trying to do.
Yeah, but
in the way is just such a finicky one. I'll be honest. Whenever I play in the way. I know that there's specifications certain weapons don't block. If I'm shooting at something and there's something obscuring, I just do it in the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just so much easier. If someone really wants to be anal about it, I guess we can go there. But in most of the games, I'm just I think there's another way for that person. They're okay, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Next question. What happens first in each phase of the game? Declaring heroic actions or resolving special rules that happen at the start of the phase? Declaring heroic actions will happen first unless otherwise stated. I can't.
For a drum.
Drum
happens at the start of priority.
Start the
after
move
fun.
phase.
So you
After,
do.
but it's
That was
after
the
it's after
example.
heroic actions.
Yeah, so you can wait to see if they pull a heroic move and decide whether it's worth you doing the
Yeah.
job.
Which I think so.
Or heroic march or whatever.
Yeah.
There was actually this question a few weeks back, I'm pretty sure, on either the competitive or GBHL page, and
Okay.
just like, so when do I do the drum? Before or after?
I
And people
remember
were like, guess same
talking
time.
about it. Like, there's probably a few other rules where this comes into play as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
But yeah, I suppose like
It's good.
no, actually I can't think. There are a few, but I can't remember
Think
them.
of them,
all.
yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
like sort of edge case usually.
So moving on. If a hurled model hits a combat that contains a model with strength 6 or higher, will that model that is strength 6 or higher suffer the strength 3 hit for a hurled model hitting their combat, even if they're not knocked prone? Yes. Clarification. That's how I played it. If you hurled into one of your own eagle's combats, you run the risk of wounding yourself.
But usually you save your eagle from being surrounded.
Correct.
You're also defense 8.
Yes. 6 is by force.
No, it's strength 6 hit.
Why?
Because you...
No, only if you hit the eagle.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought we were hitting the eagle.
No.
Now we're hitting the enemy.
Warbeast time. When a Warbeast tramples, does it have to use its full move allowance, or can it decide to move less than its move value allowance? It must trample its full move allowance unless it is forced to stop or chooses to stop after coming in contact with a friendly model.
I didn't know this one.
So it was one I have questioned before, and then I spoke to Clubly and maybe yourself, Ali, and it was like, no, it's got to go.
Yeah, I was just saying, I've never seen it play any other way.
Yeah.
What about a chariot?
It's not a Warbeast.
So chariots don't have to move the full distance?
No. Well, you just stop the horse.
Oh, yeah. But no, I think that I can see why you wouldn't want to move the full distance if you just want to get into position for next turn. You want to stay out of charge range.
Well, you just
I guess,
you simply put one of your chaps in the way and go, no, I'm not going to trample him.
Yeah.
So
That is only when it tramples. So if you're not
you move
trampling,
normally?
moving normally, you don't have to move 8 by the looks of it.
I thought normal Warbeast move was trample.
I thought you had to trample.
I mean, I don't know. It's like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
If you,
I'm pretty
if
sure you
can
have to
move
trample.
Normally,
I don't think you can't not trample.
Can a Warbeast trample an
Could be wrong.
invisible model? Yes. Well, obviously. I don't quite know what
trample
was.
is kind of defines the idea that like you don't know where they are.
Yeah.
You don't care where it
I
is.
think
Yeah.
the question more comes from the idea: do you need to take the courage test to do that?
Okay.
Like I imagine that's where it comes from because trampling isn't a charge.
No, it's
Like,
not.
Normally, is it like
No.
you accidentally charged by byproduct? So I think that's where that comes from.
So that's kind of funny. Yeah, the Warbeast just charge forwards, bounce off Frodo, and the Mimic War of the Priest like, what are you doing? Go!
Yeah.
Like these damn potholes.
Yeah. Can a Warbeast be made to leave the board by means other than stampede, such as command or compel? No, unless it's the controlling player who wishes to move off the board edge in this scenario.
There was a clarification earlier saying basically the same thing. This is just specifically for Warbeast.
Yeah.
It's like you can't if they leave the battlefield, it has to be a voluntary thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting one. So I'm going to compel your Mimic.
Yeah.
They did it unless if you stampede, so you can still if you stampede.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they got the same thing for the Wood Elf Sentinel.
Yeah.
The Spectre as well.
I like the fact that you can. So say for some reason your Mimic is on my board edge, I can be like, I'll compel you. Are you going to allow me to walk you off the board? Just.
Yeah. How
There's
weird.
an interesting FAQ coming up at some point.
Yeah.
What is it?
Which relates not to specifically that, but it's kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can a Warbeast be affected by special rules that force it to move, such as Wood Elf Sentinels, Eldamar Madrigal, or the Deadmass Spectres of Felllight is in them? No.
Same thing.
Yeah. Next one. If a model has modifiers to its dual roll, such as using for a two-handed weapon, then gets to reroll their dual roll, do the modifiers still apply to the reroll? Yes. Right, I'm moving on before I talk about that. Just
Obviously.
yeah. Right. If Shroud of Shadows is cast upon a cavalry model, will the steed automatically bolt in the same way it would as if the rider put on the One Ring? No. A steed bolting because of the rider putting on the One Ring is due to the wearing the ring part of the rules for the One Ring, not the invisible rules.
Yeah. It's basically the One Ring doesn't have... It needed the clarification because it doesn't specifically have a section in the rulebook for invisible. Invisible isn't its own separate special rule. It comes in the One Ring section, which is the way it's like confusing because it's basically its own rules, but it's not explicitly stated that way. So it's kind of a bit confusing. But that's so good clarification.
Another little nerf to the Vanquishers. Can a prone model cast magical powers? No.
I think that makes sense. It goes along with everything else because you can't like banner and things like that while you're on the ground.
So real world impact in Vanquishers. It won't affect pretty much any army apart from Vanquishers. It just means that if your models are surrounded, you don't want to do Sorcerer's Blast first with Sauron into, let's say, Radagast on the floor because Radagast combat when he's surrounded because Radagast won't be able to cast. So you may rather like cast Transfix with Radagast first, then do that Sorcerer's Blast.
Could still affect other things like, I don't know, for example,
hiding behind a wall.
If you hiding behind a wall with Galadriel or
but in those situations you'll probably go stand up and instead it will only be if you were going I need to move 3 inches and then but
it's also if you're behind a wall and one of your own guys is behind and you want to cast Renew, for example, then
you just stand up and sit back down.
But
or,
you still got to stand up.
Pretty much when you've got multiple wizards that this may come into play. One having Sorcerer's Blast.
Or from,
Next question. If a model must charge due to a special rule is affected by the command, compel, magical power, is it still required to charge during their move of Fable? Yes.
There's always one thing in an FAQ. And that's this one.
So in my mind, we had this discussion earlier, only it channeled command compel. You shouldn't. You should be able to move them wherever you want, and they don't have to charge. But normal compel, yes, they should charge.
Whereas I'm just going like, if you're being compelled.
Yeah, but you can still fight. You can still fight in the fight phase.
No, but you're not moving under your own. Like,
you kind of lose your bloodlust.
Yeah, so the way that I said it is like, because compel's like a slightly boosted transfix usually, and it's there going like, if you're transfixed, you can't charge, and it just feels weird that compel, like it's there going, oh, I'm in control of you, but I'm still gonna do what you as a model want, which is charge that model, and it's just like there you go, it just seems weird, and it doesn't make sense, and I don't get that ruling to me. I mean, it's not going to change my life.
No,
so,
not yet.
Like, I'll get over it, I guess. It just sort of seems a very odd thing.
GT, that's going to be a big thing with Phaedra.
Follow up, no, but I mean, I do follow up though. I'm presuming that works the same with Elf Sentinels and Deadmar Spectres. Because unlike previously, where they did both for the trample,
you can't charge. You can't make people charge with Spectres or Sentinel.
Yeah, you can't charge.
So that's probably why. But then that is the whole thing, though. It's like, why can a compel force you to charge if you?
Yeah.
It just seems weird.
Next question: if a cavalry model is affected by Fortify Spirit magical power, does this affect their mount? Meaning their mount would also gain 2 free dice to resist a magical power that targets it directly, such as Black Dart. Yes.
So this is an extra clarification to the Black Dart mystery, which still hasn't been officially errated, and we're just basing it off all these other specific questions. I just want them to officially go, can a mount resist Black Dart? No. And then I'll be happy.
So
or mount
pretty much
a hero's will to resist Black Dart. But I mean, it does add more evidence to do that, but it's still like.
So go on then, Gethin.
So going back to the Spectres, because I remember there was something really weird about this one. which I don't think has been FAQ'd.
Yeah.
With a Spectre, the model must pass a courage test or make a full move under the control of Spectre's controlling player, even if it's already moved. The move cannot be used to enter an enemy's control zone or perform actions that would cause direct harm to it. Can't make them lie down, stuff like that. So you can't move into a control zone.
Yeah.
But
So
if I don't have I don't have a control zone, you can
you've
charge
already
me.
been engaged.
There's nothing saying
But that's
about
an
no
action that could
charging.
bring them harm.
It's not that the charging doesn't hurt them.
No, but you're putting
No,
them in combat.
bringing them in
still.
combat can cause them
However,
harm.
just to add an extra complication,
Oh,
if
God.
I transfix that model, which you're making me charge, because they can't be harmed, can you do it?
Oh, God, right. Let's move on.
And here's another thing. Like, I was
So if
thinking, I can
if-
get my model to move 9 inches if I've got a compel, or your model to move 9 inches if I've got a compel and a Deadmar Spectre.
No, because both of them specify you can't move any further.
Yeah.
Move these.
They're both, but it's,
Yeah.
one of that one says even if you've moved.
But if a rule says you specifically
Yeah,
can't move
this is
any
why we
further.
need these FAQs for these. Like,
But no, yeah, because I remember, if I use a Spectre and Ali's Theodred, he has to charge. If
Yeah,
there's a
you
model
ha-
which doesn't have a control zone, I have to make him charge.
yeah, you can't make me run away from the battle. It's
No.
they
Yeah.
go like, nah, like it's a weird situation.
Unless no one's in combat. If none of my models are in combat, I can't make you charge me because of the control zone, so I can make you run away. But if
but
one
yeah.
of them's in combat and doesn't have a control zone, you have to charge him.
God.
Ali,
I
why are
don't
you like this? Why are you saying Ali, why are you like this? This is me.
Right, here's one for you, Geffen.
Uh-huh.
Mary has resistant to magic.
Yes.
He is on a pony.
Yes.
Does the pony get a resist roll?
If you black dart him, no.
That's
Because the pony doesn't have resistance to magic.
because the pony doesn't have the special rule resistant to magic.
Yeah.
But if you read the resistance to magic special, it's not just pony. It kind of affects some other situations. If you have the resistance to magic special, that model gets resistant to magic, and
Oh,
the
if it's just the
model,
model, then yeah.
yeah, and the pony is part of that model.
But it's not for the purposes of the black dart targeting.
But if
Yeah,
it says...
but this is one of those weird clarifications that then come up because you can't like.
Like for me, like you equate it to a Felwog. A Felwog has fell sight. Bolg does not.
So here's actually a follow-up question. It's not likely to happen. Actually, no. I thought an example which would possibly happen. You've got Raddy on Eagle.
Yeah.
You fortify Spirit. Raddy on Eagle.
Yeah.
So the FAQ says it affects both parts.
Yeah.
They then split up.
Yeah.
Are they both still fortified?
Yes, surely.
I mean, you'd think so.
I'd say no.
But or is it just
Because
Raddy or is it
I'd
just
say-
the Eagle?
I'd say that it's just Raddy because it's...
Well, it depends if you've explicitly said you want to
'cause when-
cast it on the eagle or not.
But when... Yeah. So if you say that I'm going to cast it on Raddy, and they split, it'll be on Raddy
But
because...
the spell targets the model. It's not Black Dart where it's specifically like.
Yeah, it targets the model, but it says that if a cavalry model is affected by the Fortified Spirit magical power, the Eagle is no longer affected. The Eagle model has nothing to do with the Fortified Spirit. That's on Radagast. So if you cast it in your turn and don't dismount, if I target either parts, then yes. But if
Okay,
you
so-
if you split
then
in my
bringing
turn,
it to like
then hit
if
the
it's a
Eagle.
spell which isn't cast then, because that you're saying because a specific part of the model is targeted by it.
yeah,
Resistant to magic, specific model has that rule and essentially targeted by it. But Fortified Spirit clearly affects the whole model.
but it's not a model
Resistant.
anymore. It's two models.
Yeah, but resistant to magic, while they're one model, should also affect both parts
Yeah.
until they become separated.
So I
using
agree
your
with the
own logic.
I agree with the resistant magic thing. If they're split, then if Mary dismounts, then yeah, the pony's gone.
But,
But-
before he dismounts, if someone black starts the pony, can you get resistance
Yes.
to magic?
Because
So
Why?
you change, you can.
because the pony is part of the model. Resistant to magic
Yeah.
says that it affects the model. But
Okay, yeah,
Fortified
no, that's fine. Because
Yeah.
that then is consistent across the two. I'm not saying it's
Oh,
right
okay,
or
yeah,
wrong. But like, whereas if you said no, both parts when you cast it separate are still under the Fortified Spirit spell,
It's-
it then infers that both of them had a, like, as in each component is
you-
some sort of.
You cast the Fortified Bearer on Radagast. While he is part of the cavalry, they're both affected. While they're not, it's not affected. It's like if Merry was to dismount off Dernhelm, Dernhelm is no longer resistant to magic. But while Merry's on Dernhelm, Dernhelm is.
It's just.
It's
Work it out when you cast the spell.
it's a weird one. Like for me,
In my opinion.
if someone went, "Oh, Mary's pony was getting black darted," I don't know why you'd do it, but I would go, "No, the pony doesn't have a resist because Mary has the resistance to magic."
This is the model.
Yeah, this is where the clarification between what a model is and targeting, etc.
This is where the Black Dart FAQ of a year ago
Ruined everything.
has like confused everything.
Yeah.
Because it used to be nice and simple going.
Yeah.
The whole model could resist everything. And
Yeah.
now it's like, no.
Yeah. Anyways, right, we'll move on before we get sidetracked even more.
Be like,
Oh, excuse me.
Where are we now? We're still.
If a model has listed as having two of something, for example, 2 axes, with the shadow magical power, destroy both of the same piece of wargear or just one? Just one. It says shatter one piece of wargear.
I'm guessing it's because people, it's like, because 2 axes is listed as a single wargear entry.
Yeah.
So it's a question of
But
like
then,
beats
but then,
and claws and all that.
but then
like-
people would go, why have you put axe and axe?
But it's like, so take Frieden,
Dwalin
like as in Frieden specifically has a 2-handed axe
and a normal
then,
axe.
and then like a knife or something.
Yeah.
So and they're listed as 2 separate wargear entries, whereas sometimes it's written
One
as
has
like-
2 axes.
Yeah. But
it
what?
has
what
a pair of axes or
but
something like
what
that.
I mean, if in the wargear entry they went, Dwalin has heavy armor, axe, and axe, people would go, well, why didn't you just put 2 axes?
Yeah, but I mean, as in that's
Yeah.
why it's
Yeah.
needed the FAQ.
Yeah.
Like, as in, I agree with it. But
This
I mean,
Yeah.
this is one of the ones where I wonder, has someone actually asked this?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
are they
people
just doing this
have.
to be careful?
No, people
It's
have.
also-
People have to try and do that. Go, Dwalin's got 2 axes. Well, I've shattered his entry.
here's a
Yeah.
question then, because eagles, I used to be shit scared of shatter.
Okay.
They
So
can't.
they have beak and claws.
No, they.
But
you can't do it anymore.
You can't do that to beaks
Is it
or
actually
claws
do it?
or anything. Yeah.
You can't get rid of natural things, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the last time I used eagles. But yeah, because I was like, going to go like, does that mean like technically you have to shatter it 3 times to
Yeah.
get rid of both claws and the beak,
Yeah.
which would be fine. But
So next one, if a model in a combat is affected by the Sorcerer's Blast magical power, will any of the models strength 6 or higher in the same combat also be knocked prone and take a strength 3 hit as well? Yes. Oh.
Well,
If a model in combat is affected by the Sorcerer's Blast power, will any models of strength 6 or higher in the same combat also be knocked prone
yeah.
and
This-
take a
this
strength
isn't
3
new.
hit?
yeah, I thought that was always the thing.
So this last edition, this is why Sorcerer's Blast used to be the best thing to take out Felbies. Because,
Can you still do that though?
yeah, so you charge...
Well,
two models
it depends what the Sorcerer's Blast.
You can still do it, but it's just not as easy.
so basically,
Last edition, you could just do it, whatever.
if you charge a Felbeast and another enemy model,
Yeah.
you Sorcerer's Blast the other model.
Oh right, yeah.
It's not really any different to how it used to be, but as in...
I thought the wording for Sorcerer's Blast had changed slightly.
It may have, but this is kind of just one of those reclarification things
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So moving on. If a model with Master of Battle X plus special rule attempts to copy an enemy model's heroic action but fails the Master of Battle roll, can they still spend a point in which to declare heroic action? Yeah. Fine. Move on. If a model with monstrous charge special rule charges into difficult terrain, will they still get the extra attack and knock to ground bonuses? Yes, unless they have a cavalry keyword, in which the case for the rules for cavalry will mean they do not get these bonuses. I don't know if there's... Is there a monstrous charge cavalry model?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felby's for Monstrous Charge
Felby's-
Cavalry.
Oh,
and
of course
Eagles
they are.
Monstrous Charge
Of course
Cavalry.
they
I
are.
just don't get why this is a question.
So I can, because generally, like Monstrous Charge rules say confers the knockdown and additional attack cavalry
okay.
bonuses, and like because they're in the cavalry section, it's then like oh,
Yeah,
you don't
okay.
get those bonuses in the cab. Like, so it's one of those
I
ones
got
where
you,
it's
yeah.
like I can see where the train of thought is with this, but essentially Shelob, dragons, and stuff like that will still get.
Okay,
Shows
gotcha.
that I don't play monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I haven't played Shelob. When making strikes against an enemy model with the monstrous charge special rule, do models have to roll in the way test to strike the rider if it's a cavalry model? No. The part of the rule that mentions in the way test is specifically for shooting attacks. A clarification. That's how I've always played it.
Yep.
Yeah, just think of Eowyn chopping off Felbeast's head. She could have easily swung for the Witch King.
I guess that's the weird one, right? Or the Witch King. Or, I mean, the Felbeasts, because obviously the model, once again,
Yeah,
the model
it's-
is moving, but
yeah.
it's still a bit weird. Just like,
Yeah.
throw a sword up there.
Are models that are subsequently are any models that subsequently charge a model with monstrous charge that itself is charged into combat also not prone with a model with monstrous charge if the model with monstrous charge wins the fight? Yes, providing they have a strength value lower than the model with the monstrous charge as normal. That's a bit of a mouthful of a question, but yeah, that makes sense. It's like cavalry.
Clarification.
I don't know if Raddy or Eagle can get up to strength 7.
Yeah, army bonus.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he was in the Misty Mountains one. Which
No, he doesn't get that. He's not in Misty Mountains.
The army bonus
do you
is
get
from.
the same army bonus in Raddy's Alliance?
I'm
You
pretty
get resistant to magic.
No,
in
that's
Raddy's Alliance.
that's from
just from
Radagast.
Radagast is a 12-inch bubble effect.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's still the +1.
Yeah, but basically, if so, the example of this is Raddy on Eagle charging a Felbeast.
Yeah, the Felbeast already charged. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Kind of.
counter-charging a Felbeast, basically.
Next one. If a model is wounded by the ongoing strength 5 hits from set ablaze, is the model that caused them to be set ablaze considered to have done these wounds? Yes. So this counts for contest and
Assassination.
and stuff like
It's just
that.
those two really where it'll probably come in.
Yeah, but it's like the Balrog and
Well, interestingly, I could now pick Kardash as my assassin.
and just channel.
Yeah, do that, and then eventually,
mean-
if it's cast, I'll just be like, I just need enough turns, and eventually I'll probably kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's actually
I may give it a go this weekend.
this is actually a reason for people to use Flame Burst on Saruman.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean there was always a reason because of the reoccurring damage, but it's definitely
More of a reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't affect.
'cause
Oh wait, no, it doesn't affect contest. Contest is combat only,
No, you still get.
right?
You still
I
get.
think I think contest is only wounds done in combat.
Oh.
I figured I'll check before I say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that they changed that this decision. Also, I checked. Radagast is +1 strength and charge.
Yeah. And the resistance to magic is a 12-inch ball, I think.
Say anything about the
No, so
resistance.
contest.
No,
is
in his profile it does.
So contest, the bit where it references in combat, is wounds scored. So for your tally, have to be in combat. So
Yeah.
Legolas can't stand back and shoot. However, for the additional wounds, for killing the enemy leader, it's 1 point if your leader causes 1 or more wounds on the enemy leader, and then if your leader kills the enemy leader, then it's got 3. So you
So
do get the
Saruman can-
points, but you don't have to do it in combat. So
but
it's
only
better.
against the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Saruman just channel Flame Burst the enemy leader until they
Yeah.
fail.
Right.
So for Leon, it's if you're targeting the enemy leader, you get the points. But if you're targeting normal models, so if you targeted a troll with it, you wouldn't get those points.
Yeah, it's not the
Your
wound
leader.
Callie, it's just causing
That's it.
a wound on the leader.
It's leader on leader.
Yeah, so realistically, it will only be Saruman or the Balrog. It won't be Kardash.
Dragon?
Yeah.
Did they set a blaze? I don't think.
I think they should if they don't.
Smaug.
Smaug.
I think Smaug does. I don't know if normal dragons set blaze. I never see. I don't know when I played a dragon, so actually, I'll have a look while.
So, next
we answer
question.
The next one.
Can a model with the swift movement special rule charge an enemy model so that it finishes its movement attached to a wall or an angle to allow other models to move underneath it?
Bad people.
No.
Stop.
A degree
I'm
of
glad this one's got
Yeah.
clarified because I see some.
a degree of common sense.
Love.
A degree of common sense is needed when using models with swift movement special rule. Whilst they can move over terrain at strange angles and positions that other models cannot, they must finish in a reasonable position when their base is close to flat as possible on the playing surface.
I'd rather they just said it has to be flat.
No, because then you can land on a roof.
Yeah.
Well, so there's the rule in the book, which I'm presuming is still there, which is a model has to balance to be able to sit there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as close to flat, like, I don't know if I... So it's like, you can have the rule there, like, and then there's a model here. And, like, you could literally just go like that and go, well, that's as close to flat as I can do.
I think the phrase "a degree of common sense is needed" negates
as
that.
in, like, I would have rather it like was a bit more, like, as in it gave a more clear thing going.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be flat or almost flat. It can't be at a severe angle or something.
Yeah, right.
The dragon doesn't set people ablaze.
Okay.
That's sad.
It just does a 2-inch bubble of death.
Okay. When a model drops a light object, where is it placed? When a model drops a light object, it is placed in base contact with the model that dropped it. It must be placed so that it is not overlapping another model's base. Issue is there's no specified size for light objects.
Yeah.
But, yeah, makes sense.
Which is interesting, because I've seen a lot of people just drop it in place.
Yeah.
Just for my clarification, if you kill a model with a light object, that model gets to automatically pick it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it automatically transfers.
Yeah, I was about a heavy object, it doesn't necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
Does an army have to include a hero to be the model? A hero model to be the leader? Yes.
I have a feeling this and the Army of the Dead question are related by someone. Like.
Oh yeah, good point. But I did
take one warband of 60 Army of the Dead.
I did see Adam Sokol, I think it was, go. Oh, that changes my Denizens army. And you're like, why are you taking Denizens army without the Spider Queen? But
more Gribblies?
Yeah, but not that many.
No.
Right, that's all for the main rules manual. Quest of the Ring Bearer. There is one,
which is for a scenario.
So we will continue. Scouring the Shire. I don't think there's any. Nope.
None for Rohan. There is one.
There is Fall of the Necromancer.
3.
We have 3. Obviously, they're all magenta because this is the finish with the flourish. This is the first FAQ since this book came out. So, if Azog uses the surprise attack special rule from the Pits of Dol Guldur Legendary Legion in the same priority phase as an enemy model uses a special rule that would allow them to win the roll for priority, what happens? Azog's surprise attack will take precedence over the other special rules that confer this effect, such as Saruman using the Palantir. If they are both used in the same priority phase, then they will still both count as have been used. I saw someone go, well, isn't Saruman seeing what Azog's doing? It's like, well, no, because Azog's literally come out of nowhere.
I mean, I'm guessing the way this has to work, though, it's a bit like the piercing, striking, sort of shielding sort of scenario where it goes, I'm going to use a Palantir, I'll use Azog's surprise attack. It's okay, I won't use the Palantir then.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
but it
doesn't say which one has to be called first.
But then you just go, cool, I'm not surprise attacking.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It'll be work like this piercing, striking, shielding thing where you just come to a mutual understanding.
A natural conclusion. Yeah.
I think that's completely fair because that's the whole point of the Legion, right?
Yeah.
The big thing about the Legion surprise attack, whereas the Palantir is a cool thing to have.
But Palantir is a communication.
So if it was the other way around.
Palantir is a communication thing. It doesn't see into the future.
Yeah, and you can't.
Does.
Yeah, but he'd also get smashed by Azog.
Yeah, like Saruman can't completely control it. So although he can have visions.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know in the book it starts to talk about how he thinks he's starting to get control.
My one argument in favour of Saruman is there's a Palantir, like clearly seen in the Vanquishers in the film. So he's actually got direct spy communication software. He's basically got a security camera in the dark pits of Dol Guldur.
Yeah. So to answer Leon's question, it says magic
right.
doesn't count. The initial strength 9 won't, but the strength
Yeah,
5s
strength 5s
afters will, because that has been clarified by a Goblin King question earlier.
That's an interesting one. So you could still set a Blaze of Troll, and if you do any wounds with the strength 5 stuff, that goes onto Saruman's tally.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. I misunderstood what Liam was saying, but
Yeah. So
makes it even more important.
now we go to the ones that make
I know because Kaddish isn't going to be.
things
I mean,
less.
Kaddish could be leader.
Yeah, less obnoxious. Vanquishes of the Necromancers Erratas. So, change the first bullet point to read in additional rules. The Vanquishes of the Necromancer must always include Galadriel, Lady of Light, Gandalf the Grey, and Saruman the White. Saruman the White is always the army's leader. Tick.
Yeah,
Big
basically the
tick.
change is you now have
Big
to
tick.
have to take Gandalf the Grey as well, which
Yeah.
makes sense
Yeah.
because he's the reason they're all there.
He's the reason they're all there. He's the first there.
Yeah.
Then
I'm
comes
surprised that
Galadriel,
Saruman-
and then comes Saruman, and then comes Elrond.
I guess, yeah.
And then Radagast comes in out of
And
nowhere.
honestly, I was slightly surprised Radagast was in the Legion to start off with, because he
Because
doesn't fight. He literally just turns up and goes, "Here, Gandalf."
Well,
That should be a special rule. Like, you can have Gandalf as your leader, and if he's about to die on a full plus, Radagast saves him.
Yeah.
You put the sleigh on. where he's
Radagast can
standing.
turn up with a sleigh of Gandalf's, like being rescued.
Yeah.
So for a start, that makes the Legion less obnoxious at slightly lower points.
Yeah, because Gandalf, even though
Was
he's
never
good
taken.
generally as a profile,
You're like the worst.
His
his bonus is the worst, and what he brings to it is redundant because
Yeah.
you've already got a better Sorcerer's Blast, and you've already got Blinding Light from Galadriel and
Yeah.
Saruman, and so like he's a bit redundant.
Yeah.
He's like backup more than anything.
So the next one, friendly models may still attempt to cast magical powers even if they are already engaged in combat, with the exception of Sorcerer's Blast, Wrath of Bruinen, and Nature's Wrath. Which I think... Carry on. No, I've not heard your opinions.
I don't know why this wasn't in it to start with.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say I don't like that then.
People didn't really think of it through enough. It's
But
like-
I obviously don't know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, you hear rumors and stuff, and I have heard rumors that
like
they
lots
don't.
of cocaine, like blackjack and hookers. like-
I've heard rumors that they don't get, or they get time to test things, but they don't get enough time to test everything properly. So, like, they may have played like 100 games, but we don't know how many of that would be Vanquishers, and how many they would actually be trying competitively compared to just a standard game, because obviously they don't want to go competitive
Yeah.
every single day while they're working. But I don't know how this didn't get popped up, especially with some of the people that I know test the game.
But the thing is,
Like-
people spotted this before it even hit a tournament.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it's like the bomb thing, for example, that
Yeah.
came up with Assault on Helm's Deep. That was Jasmine was at an event and there was like, oh, I can do this kind of like moment. It, like no one saw it coming before like that. Whereas Vanquishes, it was like we read that and you go, yeah, like this is stupid. This is the whole reason Nature's Wrath and Wrath of Bruinen originally got nerfed and stuff like that.
But like,
No.
like
Maybe they just thought it'd be maybe from playtesting. By having this, it just seemed awful, and they were like, "Oh, people."
It's
will be
also one of those
like
ones
it or
where it's
something.
going. Genuinely, I don't think Vanquishes were going to win every tournament because of numbers. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
some scenarios can handicap them. So it may be like if you're looking at it with a competitive blinker on, you're there going, "It's strong," but it won't
I
win
guess,
every
yeah.
event.
And they might have had that discussion of, I mean, I could beat it with my Lake Down, I could beat it with my Goblins,
yeah,
type thing.
the like so I think those two. Well, the first rule's fine. It just makes it less horrendous at low points. But
Makes it more thematic.
yeah, the second one is such a simple fix that I didn't think of. I didn't think they'd do. We were going all about the boy, but this now means that they're using might to win fights. So, and they're using might.
Or heroic defense.
Yeah, or they're using might for heroic moves. And
It
it could still be horrendous if your opponent wins loads of heroic moves, but it also means that if you get them into combat, they're only transfixing you.
They're going, if you can tie up everyone, like all of them, or 4 of the 5 who can do spells that knock down, you're suddenly like, actually, you've got agency back as the opposing player, which is what you lacked before, because it used to be, I charge, cool, I'm all on the floor.
Yeah.
Now they're going, oh, if I can make sure I charge all the relevant ones,
Yeah.
I have a combat phase, I get to do things.
Yeah. I think it just wasn't realised how obnoxious it might be.
I think, yeah. But I think this nerf's... I think it's safe to say this nerf's probably knocked out of top contention. Like list, I don't think this will be...
You just have to be far... I think you just have to be far more... You just have to be far more defensive with it.
Yeah. Like you may now have to have Salamand hanging back as your to save.
Or Radagast is suddenly a lot easier to kill, and he's the one that can just nip out Nature's Wrath and come back.
Yeah. The other thing is it may make it more important to do a channel Terrifying Aura on all of your wizards,
which is using your might.
Yeah. Because then it's 3 dice and hopefully -1 from Gladiel to make sure that like enemy models can't charge you, and so it's stuff like that. Like there's still ways to make it work, but you've got to work through it more. Yeah.
Because I've got the Vanquishers and Necromancers set. I've got a Radagast that I want to use, and I was genuinely like looking forward to playing this Legion when I was talking to Jay about it. And then when it came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is really shit," and just horrible play experience. But now this makes me go, actually, I want to try it now. Because I don't
immediately go if I face a Vanquishers, go, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
you have ways of dealing with
this.
This
may be a bit interesting. But yeah, I mean, my issue with Vanquishers, it was leaning into that trend, which was making me dread playing themed armies, which is a thing which
that's one of my
should have happened.
It's one of my issues with this edition.
We have Mr. May in the chat.
I was going to say, Rowan's made a good...
Don't forget about Galadriel banishing Saruman's opponent to free up a blast Wrath. I think I'm pretty sure that's Saruman or whatever. I think this will catch people out, but the list should be nicely balanced. Yeah, I completely agree.
It's kind of a cool little thing.
Yeah, see, I kind of was thinking you can do that with a transfix or stuff like that.
But then, like say, if you've channeled Terrifying Aura and there's only one guy in on your opponent, you could just blast that guy off Elrond, for example. Elrond gets that Wrath of Burner, and job's good.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So I'm pretty happy with that as a change, and it makes it less obnoxious.
And I think it, because Leon said, would it be enough to get everyone to roll 1 or 2 dice to resist? I think that's too much. I don't think you want to be adding some... one, I don't think you want the precedence of that in the game, and 2, I don't think you want to have a rule which is giving the opponent benefits to things, because that's just a weird way to...
It may balance it, but I prefer it this way.
Yeah.
That is basically what I'm saying.
I'm also happy never seeing this in a tournament, so I'm happy with this being nerfed into the ground.
But I still think it's competitive,
next.
And you just have to be, like you say, you just have to be more defensive with it, and you just have to plan your moves out a bit more rather than just go, oh, I'll do Elrond, Wrath of Burn, and I'll do Radiant Nature's Wrath.
I've got a question for Rowan. Does the PV stand for pole vault in your username?
Oh,
probably.
Oh.
Some war questions.
But yeah, no, I don't think this... Well, this is the smallest FAQ? Would you say? Yeah.
As in, like, the entire thing, or this specific book?
As in the amount it's changed.
Yeah.
It feels more like what FAQ should be.
Yeah.
It's not drastically changed the game in a way that's affected everyone or like vast armies. It's literally going, Vanquishers you've changed, but it kind of like needed it. And thankfully they did it at the first opportunity they could, rather than wait for me and Dewi to nerf it hard.
Or for it to destroy the GT.
Yeah, and then everything else is pretty much just clarifications.
Because you think at the GT, if people had taken the Vanquishers, Gandalf would not be in it.
Yeah.
Whereas now,
Mhm.
you have to. Nah, this is the favourite pod, Tom.
No, he put second.
The second.
In the podcast.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say I really enjoy like
That's where I heard about it.
DCHL's podcast.
But yeah, like this Legion I genuinely want to try out now. So it's something that makes me want to play an army that was obnoxious.
Yeah, I won't begrudge you if you do try it now.
And like Rangers of Ithilien, I was always putting Frodo, Sam and Gollum in there anyway, because I genuinely think they're like
Did it before it was cool.
Well, no, I just think they
No,
they bring a lot to
it was
list.
Cool before it was mandatory.
Yeah, exactly.
So things missing from the FAQ.
Yes.
I think that be good to have it. It's like for me, I'd kind of just wanted a black dart errata just to draw a line under the sand on that sort of thing.
Can you remove an FAQ? So remove the previous one to replace it.
They have done that because you not remember the last time when they did the
heroic combat one. Yeah.
Heroic combat.
Shield bearers.
To take out the other one, and so it was yes, you can do
quickly
this.
upload
No,
another
you
one.
can't do this.
Quickly upload another one.
Yeah.
The only other one that I can think of is Black Riders. Black Riders willing themselves off the board.
Yeah.
Go. I've got 8 will left. I'm going to spend 8 will to Black Dart a warrior, and I've won the game 1-0.
I think that they should FAQ it so that if you have, is it Will of Evil?
Yeah.
Where you die if you've got no will, you can't reduce your number of will to
basically
0.
you can't willingly through casting a spell reduce.
You
your
can't
will
kill
to
yourself.
0.
Basically, you die if you go in combat. You die.
How?
I was thinking you can charge.
Okay,
You
yeah.
can't, you can't kill yourself because I don't think that. I think that's just. It's a legit thing, but it's just against the.
It's against the
It's
spirit
the
of the
same reason
game.
why they
The
changed
spirit of the game.
bomb.
That's it. Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to bomb. You can't just blow up whenever you want. In
Yeah.
some ways, but for game balance and fun, like they introduced that rule, and I think they need to do it for Will of Evil as well.
Yeah.
But they're the only. Oh, and the other one is I quite like to see Bomber of Gondor go down to a Hero of Fortitude as well, just to stop him being dropped in like your Hobbit lists or your Lothlorien lists.
On that, I'd like to see the same for the Spider Queen.
Yeah, well, that was the other one. Spider Queen, I can understand more why she may be.
But then again, there's no hero fortitude. So if they had like a Wildwide Chieftain in there as well, I think that would be interesting.
Or just as part of the army bonus, she can take a warband of 15.
Yeah.
I kind of would rather see with the Spider Queen is just her errata to say that her broodlings can't move outside of 12 inches of her.
Or move on the turn they're spawned, because that's a big thing as well.
Yeah,
right?
like I think the issue with the Spider Queen is more the way the broodling rule works,
Mhm.
and I think changing that resolves the issue more than the Spider Queen allying.
Yeah. I can't. Like, I know I say this to quite a lot of people, but you can play the game how you want, but this edition's clearly hooked around theme, and people dropping Lady of Lights in and Spider Queens in. It just kind of like I get people who do kind of Arnor and Gondor together, because it's kind of like the old and the new. It's kind of like a weird one where they're trying to create something, but people just dropping in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it frustrates me.
We're gonna take everything away from you, Tom.
Yeah.
It'll be like that meme from Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
Wanda's like, "You took everything from me," and then he's just gonna turn around to Tom and go, "I don't even know who you are."
Yeah. Tom, how's your good army going? Because I heard it was going really, really well.
I'm going to assume sarcasm either.
Yeah, Tom had to. Got to rethink his good list, let's say, because guess what he had in it?
Oh, Lady Light.
Yep.
Just to respond to Leon, I think that makes it too complicated if you can pop one Nazgul turn.
Yeah.
Generally with rules, like I think if you keep it as simple as you can, it's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
It's the whole it's the whole reason why they got rid of. Oh, you can have one throwing spear per game. No,
Just keep it short.
no.
Like, if it was a video game, that would work perfectly.
Yeah,
But it's not. It's the tabletop.
Real life.
yeah.
Work like that.
Also, one thing that I noticed today, which I knew was going to happen, I mean, is why I really disliked the fact that this was an FAQ/errata, is someone came on the page, made a comment, or someone posted about the Lady Light being fortitude now, so you can't ally, and someone's like, what are you talking about? Of course you can ally. Because they were a new player, they'd got the new books, they were playing the game, didn't realise that in the FAQ, there's a thing saying it, which is why I hate, but it's so hard to get in.
Like, it's alright for us going through the FAQ now, because we're just seeing what's changed.
Yeah.
So we just look out for the magenta bits. It's a lot of text to go through if
Yeah.
you're not in the game. Thrown on top of the rule
Yeah.
books and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because...
It's why most people learn the game through word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Cameron came back, it's just like, I'll just play it.
Yeah.
The experienced players will tell me how to play it. Probably
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like, we don't want a new edition is also the issue.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if there's
yeah.
a new edition, that causes so many issues, but it would also reduce these down and put all this stuff in.
I personally would like a new edition.
I would personally like it. I don't think it's good for the game, but I would personally like it.
I mean, it depends on what they do. They could just do a republication of all the books. Like, ebooks you could do it on. And I think they do it actually on the AOS ones. It's like,
They don't
change it.
They don't include the FAQs on the Lord of the Rings ones.
Yeah, like they change it, or you get with like.
I think
e-army books and
the
stuff like that.
the issue with doing that for SBG is that it'd have to go through Warner and all that kind of jazz.
Oh yeah, I
so-
know
That's
what
the
they
big
do.
issue. And that's why they also can't do a digital one, I believe. This isn't anything I've heard from like the team at all, just what I know from like business stuff and knowing about Warner Brothers. I don't believe that they can go, because at Age of Sigmar and 40k, it's a digital book that you basically download type thing, and they constantly change it because it's not having to
it's just
rebuy it.
updated.
They can't do that with The Hobbit, I believe.
Yeah,
'Cause they
basically
need
every
to send
change
it
they do,
physical.
they need to send off to Warner Bros. For
Yeah, so it's just a lot. Because that would be ideal. That'd be perfect if there was a digital rule book, which the FAQs just got put into the actual book itself.
Yeah.
Be a pain in the ass for whoever's got to format it, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
I did have another point, I can't remember. What we'll do is we'll save the Easterling heroes for when we actually know the rules and when the Defence of the North comes out, because I think that'll be a really cool book and something that we won't have seen in a long, long time that is essentially brand new. A brand new theatre of war.
It's just dwarfs with Iron Hills, and it's just like, oh, another one.
Yeah. It's a brand new
I've got 3 of those
theatre of
lists
war.
already.
Yeah. Brand new theatre
It was
of war.
honestly the first one I wanted. When I heard they were doing expansions, the first thing I wanted was one of them, was the Erebor stuff.
I have a feeling I'm going to be underwhelmed by the dwarf part of it. Because it's not going to do what I would like it to do. It's just going to be a new Iron Hills list with different heroes.
Probably.
Well, no, because you'll have Dale in it.
Yeah, but I want Dale with Army of Thor again.
No.
Like,
Well,
that's
you can do that.
Yeah, but not in an actual practical way.
Well,
Because one of
you
the
figure it
reasons why I
out.
take Dale and Army of Thor is to take the bowman. But then because they're allies, it doesn't work anymore.
I think.
Legion. I assume we'll fix that, but then you can't take what you want, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it seems like it's going to be an Iron Hills Warriors Legion.
Yeah.
And
Of course,
I would
if
rather
it's Army of
it was a
Thor,
combat
I will be
legion.
super, super surprised.
It
I
won't
would
be
like
New Warriors.
I would like Dwarf Warriors and Iron Hill Warriors because
No.
for me the argument is the Iron Hill Warriors are the professional troops. The Dwarf Warriors aren't professional. They're basically the militia.
But
And so
they
because
were
Erebor-
they were professional.
No, the Dwarf Warriors aren't. But I mean,
The Army
because
of Thor
Iron Hill-
ones were.
But Erebor at that time is actually a living,
It's-
breathing dwarf city, so you would have the militia as well.
Yeah,
And I
whereas
think it-
Army of Thor was out of the...
Yeah,
They
and
weren't
I
in the
think it
mountain anymore.
makes within a list itself a
Yeah.
new variety. Like it makes it slightly different, interesting dwarf faction.
Rangers?
Whereas otherwise,
No.
yeah, or you could do that. Like whereas otherwise, it's just there going, oh, it's Iron Hills with these
Different
heroes
heroes.
instead. I've got that in Iron Hills and in Erebor Reclaimed.
I hope they don't put the ballista in.
No,
No ballista, no
it's-
chariots.
Ballista's not in Erebor Reclaimed.
Yeah, I know. I just mean like as in like sort of.
And
The new list.
the chariots.
Yeah, the new list. I think.
I don't want the new list to include the ballista or the
I
chariot.
don't think it will. No, because Thorin 3 and Old Dane are in Erebor Reclaimed. The new list will only be a Legendary Legion.
We're assuming.
There won't be a new faction.
I mean, they may break a habit of a edition.
But you think Thorin 3, Old Dane are already in Erebor Reclaimed. Brand and Bard are already in Dale. Razgush and Musga are already in Mordor.
It makes sense to
they won't make a new
shit.
faction. It will just be a Legion.
Well, I hope
that's
that in
what
the
I'm
Legion
assuming.
they don't have the ballista or chariot.
I mean,
They
the
won't.
Legion will
They
be a
won't.
bit more interesting because it does come with the Dale, but it's like going. That's kind of.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
Non-Iron Hills to be able to like.
Ali, I don't think Army of Thought and Dale are very good together. You need to make a list and play them and make them good.
Oh, I thought you were reading a comment there.
No.
I know. I won't make them good. I'll just do good with them. Like I take rubbish.
Well, you need.
People go, "What does that do?" It's like, let's find out.
You need to prove people wrong.
Mate,
You need
at
to
least
take.
they print.
You need to take.
At least they print your list off.
Yeah, like it is quite funny when it's just like, oh, Fidget's Guard's a bit like one of the weakest legendary legions in that book. It's technically the most successful GBHL event.
Like when reading the War and Rohan stuff. Genuinely, I thought Thedra's Guard could be pretty good because you've got relatively cheap guys. You can get loads of them. You can get missile fire, spears, fight 4.
It's because everyone looks at the heroes when they're judging an army list usually. And this is why a lot of people underestimate quite a few army lists because it's going like, well, Theodric Guard, Elfhelm, and Grimbold are like 3 like meh characters.
Who
They're
mayor
not,
and
like,
one god.
They're not your top tier characters you take from Rohan. But then it's sort of like, there you go. And then you look going at Helmsguard or Defenders of Helm Deep and you go, well, I've got the foot, spear, shield wall there, but I've got better heroes, like have lower points. And it's like but they both miss the crucial sort of like strength 4 element of the Helmingas, and like they're obviously you get the Swarm Protect as well, which is really handy. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Helminga's power.
Yeah. You just need to do well with them now, Gethin.
I mean, easy see with them.
Yeah.
That's
I knew.
didn't just get a free ticket, but
New edition. New edition.
I got 5th at one of Steve's events.
Nice.
Yeah.
this is back when he only got 10 people going.
No,
this is-
5.
No, I actually
Second
do
one.
remember that event. Wasn't that what like
So
convinced us to let you into that ETC team?
No,
Slash
we're already
desperation
on the
for
team.
numbers. Yeah, no, but we let you into team 1.
We're already on the team for that. We'd already sorted the teams out because I spoke to Dewi and Luke.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Luke was on the second team. But yeah,
Yeah.
only last that tournament was against Barney.
Was that his goblin with spiders and...
No, that was his Isengard.
Okay. Because he was...
And we played on the awful... Sorry, Steve. We played on the awful Goblin Town board.
Goblin Town boards are not for competitive play.
I love you, Steve. Your boards look amazing, but
Not that one.
didn't enjoy playing on that one.
Yeah. I think if you're playing on a Goblin Town, you need lots of the big platforms and you need to say you cannot walk under them. Because it just gets complicated.
It's just so awkward.
Yeah. Right, I think we're done, gents. I can't think of anything else we were after. So thank you.
I could talk loads.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say we
know.
could keep it for hours.
But thank you for joining me again. We will hopefully be back in 2 weeks' time on the 17th. We will double check and let people know in the meantime. Thank you all for joining us.
Hopefully with the CJ.
And hopefully with the CJ next time. And possibly another guest. We will wait and see. But
Dun, dun, dun.
we will catch you next time on a Guardian show.